Okay, good evening. Ooh, why don't we just let me do that also. Hi. Good evening. Can you hear us in the chat on the at home? Somebody said yes. Okay, good. Good sign. Okay, so I would like to welcome everybody to Community Education Council 2. My name is Craig Slutskin. I'm one of the new council members for this term. I want to start, well, just from a procedural perspective, for the beginning of this meeting, since I was the highest ranking officer returning from last term, I will be the facilitator for this meeting. So in the absence of an elected secretary, I will take a roll call now. Allison Bowen. Allison Bowen is not here. Gloria Chu.
Present.
Gloria Chu is here. Daniela Egorov. Daniela Egorov is not here. Erin Carr.
Here.
Erin Carr is here. And if I mispronounce anybody's name, please tell me. Cody Lindquist. Cody is not here. Rustam Mavlinov.
Here.
Rustam is here, or Russ is here. Gavin Healy.
Yeah.
Gavin Healy is here. Tam Reed.
Here.
Tam is here. Craig Slutskin is here. Sabina Serenise. Sabina Serenise is not here. So three of the members, Daniela, Cody, and Sabina, had previous travel plans. We only found out the results of the elections at the end of June. It was very late for people to sort of change travel plans. And unless there's an objection, I'd like to give them all an excusal because it happens. So that's an excusal for Sabina, Serenise, for Cody Lindquist, and Danielle Egorov, and they all did request it in writing. We do not have a quorum. I do expect a quorum. One member is on her way. She's having subway issues. So we can't go into the annual meeting, or we can't go do the annual meeting. The annual meeting is where we will elect officers, or at least try to elect officers for the upcoming year. What we can do for the calendar meeting is we could start with our public speaker session. because that is a requirement, even if whether or not we do or we do not have it. However, I think what it would make sense, because at least six of the seven of us are here, to start off with is to introduce ourselves, since we have some new faces and some returning faces on the dais. So if we can do that, do you want to start? Either start on that side or start on that side. You chose. Gloria, you want to start?
My name is Gloria.
How about, do you want me to start so you can?
Sure.
Okay, I'll start. Okay. So my name is Craig Sluskin. I think a lot of you know me because I was on the council last term. My son is a rising, I guess it's a rising, if you're going to be in fourth grade, it's a rising fourth grader at PS 340, just a couple of blocks from here. I'm a native New Yorker. I went to public school, New York City elementary school, public elementary, junior high school, that's what they called it back then, high school, and actually college, because I went to CUNY as well.
My name is Gloria Shu. I have two kids that are both in middle school. I am also a lifelong New Yorker, born and raised, not quite in Manhattan, but Long Island, but I spent a lot of time in New York City, especially in this neighborhood. So I'm excited to be a part of the group and be here to support our students of the district.
Hi, I'm Rustam Mavlanov. You can call me Russ. It is easier. The name is a little bit complicated. I'm a proud parent of two kids. They're in Paxton School, so next year, fifth grader and kindergarten. They all English language learners. So actually, I serve an SLT team in our school. Now I'm very proud to be here. I help American companies facilitating global trade challenges, especially it's complicated, especially nowadays. And most of the time, I'm trying to navigate between complications and trying to find the best solution between the countries, between the companies, and that's what I want to bring here, helping find solutions. Thank you so much.
Before we go to Aaron, that reminds me, and I apologize, I forgot. Will the interpreters, do you want to come up and just announce what needs to be done for the folks at home on Zoom? Do you want to come up and just, because they won't hear you from back there. And I apologize for not doing that earlier. You want to stand over here because it's the mic from here. Yeah. No, this doesn't work. It's just for my.
Hola, buenas noches. Tenemos servicios de traducción disponibles. Si alguien quiere traducción, por favor, pase a la señorita y consiga su equipo para escuchar en español. Gracias. Gracias.
ทุกคนนะแบรนด์เดินไม่ได้ถ้าเขาไม่ได้การเราที่如果学校还说呢，然后面临我们的机器，我们有从生产一个中文图画可以起来。
Thank you.
Okay.
Tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Erin Carr. I am a District 2 parent. I have a rising third grader at PS 41, and I have an older son who is a senior at NYU Tisch. I grew up in Los Angeles, but my father moved to New York when I was 7, so I, from the age of 7, spent a good chunk of my year out here, and I've been a resident of Greenwich Village for 11, 12 years. And I'm really excited to be here. I am excited to get to work and to listen and to hopefully be a productive member of the council, and look forward to having a fresh start as we move into this new term.
Hi, my name is Tamira, but you can call me Tam, because it's also a difficult name to pronounce sometimes. I have a son in this school, actually, where we're sitting right now, and he is a student with multiple disabilities, and that's kind of what brought me to this work years ago. And I'm coming from the CCSE, which is the Citywide Council for Special Education, or I thought it would be a nice move to come into a district that I know needs a lot of support and help in really supporting our students with disabilities, and that I could be best, I could do better work here, let's just say it that way perhaps, but really happy to be here.
Good evening. My name is Gavin Healy. I'm a returning council member. I was the IEP member, parent member last term, and I'm back for second term, my last report. First of all, I would thank all of you for coming here tonight, for coming out on such a hot evening, Wednesday, July evening, and spending it with us, of all the places we can spend it. Like Aaron, I'm excited for this new term. I'm looking forward to a fresh start. I'm a parent of a rising eighth grader, and I am in my other sort of life. I'm a former attorney. I teach Chinese history to college students. So I'm an educator and at a different level, but looking forward to focusing on our work, which is educating our students to go out into the world and be good human beings. And so I hope that we can sort of model that on this council as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Gavin. Thank you to the members of the council. There is a sign-up sheet. There are, just for those of you who haven't been here before, we have two speaker sessions. There's a first speaker session, then we go when we have internal discussions, which of course you hear all of that, the superintendent speaks, and then we have a second public speaker session. So if you'd like to speak on either, you can speak on the first, you can speak on the second, you can speak both. That's fine, but please sign up. It's over there. And please make sure you sign in the right one that you want to speak in. My question for my other council members is, theoretically, since we don't have quorum yet, we would do the presentation of resolutions once we have the quorum. I'm okay if you want to do the presentation now so that we do it before the speaker session. The only question is, and I don't know that it really makes it, she's heard all of it, is Allison will not hear your presentation, but she's heard it enough. She's heard it before, so to me, it makes more sense to flow of do the presentations first. Is that okay with everybody? Okay, so we're going to start with the presentation. So the council members can make resolutions. They are advisory, they're not binding. Well, there's Allison anyway, so we'll start that in a second. It's non-binding, but nonetheless, they carry the weight of the position of the CEC. We have two resolutions on the agenda tonight. For each resolution, we will allow the sponsors to speak briefly about the resolution. So we'll start off with resolution number 280, the resolution to affirm CEC2's support of NYCPS's guidelines to support transgender and gender expansive students, and rescind resolution 248. And before you do that, I just want to note for the minutes that council member Allison Bowen has arrived and we now have a quorum. Okay, so who would like to present this? Aaron, Councilmember Carr, sorry.
Hi. So one of the motivating factors in running for a seat at this table was the ongoing harmful impact of Resolution 248. In the previous term, some CEC2 council members suggested that 248 was merely initiating a conversation. However, you must realize you are starting a conversation about impinging on the rights of a highly marginalized group of students. On a federal level, there has been an all-out attack on transgender rights and recognition. And while New York State, the City of New York, and the New York City Department of Education provide strong protections for transgender students, the rhetoric is dangerously harmful to the safety and mental health of transgender students. And it is shameful that the CEC2 filed on that harm. Regarding participation in sports, I played competitive volleyball in middle school and high school. As you may recall, when you were in middle school, or you may witness with your own children, kids grow at different rates. I have heard people use the argument that it is unfair to have trans students participate in sports because they have an unfair advantage. So I say this, when I was in 7th grade, I had a significant growth spurt reaching 5'7", and by the end of 8th grade, 5'8". I was markedly taller than the majority of the girls my age, the girls I played volleyball with and against. So if I stood here and said, I would like to open a conversation around not allowing kids over a certain height to participate in physical education, intramural, and competitive public school athletic league sports, would those who voted for 248 support that? I bet your answer would be no. We are not asking what your opinion is about the validity of gender identity. We are guaranteeing the rights of every single student to participate equally at school.
Thank you.
No, I'm not.
Oh, sorry, you said thank you, so I apologize.
No group of students should be denied participation based on sexuality, gender identity, race, ethnicity, religion, or size or ability. In the weeks leading up to the CCEC elections, I spoke to scores of parents within District 2 and within other New York City districts. Not one person I spoke with supported 248. Quite the opposite, they were appalled. We have an opportunity to stop this ongoing harm. We should always be putting the best interests of students forward, not whatever our political ideologies are, or our personal beliefs are, or our religious beliefs are. It is about allowing children to have the same civil rights within our schools. So I urge my fellow council members to vote yes on resolution 280 so we can move forward on other issues and affirm to District 2 families that all students in New York City public schools are guaranteed equal rights. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Carr, and good job on your first speech. Second resolution is resolution 281. Resolution affirming the values of the District 2 Community Education Council and New York City Public Schools to ensure all students are welcome and safe regardless of immigration status. Who's going to present? Okay, Councilmember Chu.
Recent alarming events involving immigration and customs reinforcement actions against current students in New York City public schools have created fear and instability among immigrant and mixed status families, threatening the safety, well-being, and educational progress of our students. As of today, the 2 New York City public school students that we know have been detained by ICE remain in ICE detention. As a body committed to equity, inclusion, and the protection of all children in our schools, this resolution aims to ensure that our school remains safe havens, uphold student rights regardless of immigration status, and provide the necessary support to help every student thrive. On February 23rd of this year, ICE issued a memo directing agency personnel to conduct a nationwide search for unaccompanied minors for deportation purposes. With the ICE goal of making 3,000 arrests a day, the number of children in ICE detention centers is rapidly increasing. As of March, the Trump administration stripped funding for legal services for unaccompanied children of all ages, requiring more than 26,000 students, many of them in detention centers here in New York, to either pay a private attorney or represent themselves in court. While the government is always represented in immigration court, many children without lawyers will be returned to the dangerous situations they escaped. Without government-funded lawyers, children as young as 5 have appeared in court alone. According to the Young Center of Immigrant Children's Rights, the median age of children in ICE detention centers is 7 years old, which means they're second graders. School districts that operate in partnership with ICE suffer severe educational disruptions, harming students' well-being and academic success. Evidence shows that large-scale immigration enforcement, such as ICE raids, leads to widespread student absences, as seen in Tennessee, where over 500 students miss school the day after a major raid. Educators report increased fear among students with immigrant families, resulting in chronic absenteeism, reduced parental engagement, and a decline in academic performance. These impacts are incompatible with our district's commitment to equitable, inclusive education, and this resolution is a necessary step to safeguard our students' rights to learn in a safe and supportive environment. I urge my fellow council members to vote yes on resolution 281. Regardless of your stance on immigration, as parent leaders and human beings, we have a moral duty to protect New York City public school students from unlawful detention without a judicial warrant and due process to support New York City public school families, regardless of their immigration status. To vote against this resolution, which aligns with our state, city, and DOE policies, would reveal a bigoted and cruel attitude towards students, which is against our duties as council members. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Chu, and congratulations on your first presentation as well. Councilmember Bowen, do you want to introduce yourself? Because we did that before you got here. Just give a 2-minute of who you are and who, what, when, where, why. Just 2 minutes of introducing
I
yourself.
don't think I have 2 minutes worth of stuff to say.
You can do 30 seconds. You can do 30 seconds as well.
Allison Bowen, I'm obviously a public school parent and re-elected to CEC for District 2 for a second term. I have 3 children who attend public school in District 2.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay, so let's go back to the annual meeting. The annual meeting is where we take an election for the 4 office positions: president, vice president, recording secretary, and treasurer. Now, I'm gonna ask my council members, reading the tea leaves, I don't think that we're going to get to a resolution on this today. So I would propose that we defer this till August, till our August meeting. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
And I would just say that, according to our bylaws, Article 2, Section 2, we are supposed to, have a vote each year in our bargaining week. So I think that even if we may do that, that we should make that happen. And we might, I mean, we have 4 different positions, we might not elect, you know, a new president or vice president, who knows, but we might, you know, elect a secretary or treasurer, I'm sure we do so at various decisions to make that happen.
If that's what, you know, unless it's unanimous, I don't feel comfortable skipping it, so if that's what you would like, that is fine with me. Give me 1 second, because I have my script somewhere here. Hold on a second. Thank you. Okay, so. So it is now time, and this meeting of the council of the city of the CEC2 will come to order. My name is Craig Slutskin, and I'm convening the annual meeting for the purpose of electing officers, and we have done the roll call. Article 2, Section 2 of the council's bylaws require that officers be elected by roll call vote at the annual meeting. To be elected, a candidate must have at least 7 votes. Officers remain in position until their successors have been elected. The first order of business is to elect a chair pro tem to chair the election meeting until the president has been elected. The chair pro tem must be someone who is not running for office in the election they are chairing. Since the first election is for president, the chair pro tem cannot run for president. Once the president is elected, they can take over running the election from the chair pro tem. Are there any nominations for chair pro tem? We will accept self-nominations.
I nominate Craig.
I don't think I should do it.
Okay.
I will nominate, yeah, no, I understand. I will nominate Erin. Okay. Your nominations for the chair pro tem are now closed, and we will proceed to a vote for chair pro tem. Allison Bowen.
Yes.
Gloria Chu.
Yes.
Daniela Egorov is not here. Erin Carr.
Yes.
Erin Carr is a yes. Cody Lindquist is not here. Russ Mavlinov.
Yes.
Russ Mavlinov is here. Gavin Healy.
Yes.
Gavin Healy is a yes. Tam Reed.
Sure.
Tam Reed is a sure. Craig Slutskin is a yes. Sabina Serenese is not here. The motion passes, and you will be the chair pro tem. So all you need to do is just read this
Okay.
out.
To elect officers, we will vote upon each position before moving on to the next so that any candidate not elected to an office can run for others. I will take nominations. Members can nominate themselves. If a member is nominated by another member, I will confirm that he or she accepts the nomination. Nominations do not need to be seconded. If a member is not present but has submitted their nomination in writing to the administrative assistant or another member, they will be treated the same as any member who is present, including having a 2-minute statement read aloud by someone else. Each nominee will be allowed to make a speech of up to 2 minutes. Following the candidates' presentations, we will conduct a roll call vote. All positions must be voted on even if there is only one candidate. Where there are 2 or more candidates, each member must make a choice and vote for one or the other. Example, John Doe and Jane Smith are running for president. On the roll call, each member will vote for either John or Jane. The council must not vote first on John, then on Jane. Members may abstain from voting. If no candidate receives at least 6 votes.
7.
Oh,
It
7.
says it,
Oh, I
but
see.
it was
Okay, sorry.
changed. It was
We
changed.
will vote by show of hands on whether to do a second round or proceed to the elections for the next office. If a position remains unfilled over 2 or more rounds of voting, the incumbent will continue in the position. New elections for all unfilled positions must be put on the agenda of following month's calendar meetings until all the positions are filled. Is the procedure clear to all the members?
Yes.
First, we will elect the council president. Are there any nominations for the office of president?
I nominate Gavin.
Do you accept the nomination?
I accept it.
I nominate Craig.
Do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
I will now call each candidate in alphabetical order to make a statement of up to 2 minutes. The administrative assistant will be the timekeeper. After all candidates have spoken, we will proceed with a roll call vote. So are we doing by first name or last name?
last name. Was my last name.
Okay, so Gavin, do you have a candidate statement?
Okay, I will do my best. Good evening, I think I know a lot of you, I think a lot of you know me. I have served on the council, as I mentioned, for the last 2 years. Before that, I was a very frequent attendee of these meetings. I've served on the FFT of my school. I've been the chair of the Student with Disabilities Committee at CECD2. And I've been an active parent, active parent leader in this space. And I am really looking forward to a fresh start. I think this council needs to move forward, and it needs to move forward in a better direction, clearer direction, a direction that centers our students rather than doing grandstanding or other motivations. I will also add, this is a small thing perhaps, but I think it's an important thing. I'm the only council member last term with a perfect attendance record. I did not miss a single meeting. And I intend to continue that. I think that's important because we need people who are going to show up. We need people who are going to show up for our students, who are going to put those interests first. So that is what I hope to do as the council president. I hope to work with everyone up here on this table. I hope to work with our superintendent, with our head superintendents, and hopefully to find a better way for our students. So I would appreciate your votes. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. So my name is Craig Slutskin, and I was absent once because of a last minute work thing, but I was here for the record for 2 hours before setting up. So I was actually physically here every single time. I was the president last time for the second year of the 2-year term. And I view the job as coordinating all of the other council members and acting as the administrative officer, because we're all, at the end of the day, a council of equals. And I try to work with others, and I think I've done that. I've shepherded many resolutions to get them passed, working with almost everybody on the council, people who I agree with, people I don't agree with, people I may like, or maybe I may not like. I work with everybody. And I try to keep a positive attitude with working with everybody. Of course, work can be improved. We all try to strive for that. Administratively, because a big part of being the president is an administrative function, is I redid the website. The website was very old, and I bringing it to be one of the most extensive websites of all of the CECs, updates being made quickly, posting of resolutions, adding the resolution tracker. And what I was very proud of is we made it accessible for various languages and accessible for other disabilities. Having the position for a year, I can see what worked well and what didn't work well and what we can improve. Outreach, more reporting on liaison schools, working with committees to have more committee meetings, because we really didn't have that many. So it's good to have committee meetings on very focused topics. Interfacing with FACE and superintendent and working with the superintendent. I think we had a very tumultuous year last year, but I think we can start fresh, as everybody has said. And again, work well with each other. Try to work well with each other. Thank you.
Okay. So now we will proceed with a roll call vote.
For the courtesy of those in the back, I'm gonna have to use your ear voices, please. Thank you.
Even in the front, I can't really hear it, sorry.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay at this level?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I hear you loud.
You good?
It's
Yeah.
not good.
Good. I can get loud.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So when I call your name, you're going to either say Craig, Gavin, or abstain.
Correct.
Okay. Allison Bowen.
Craig Slutskin.
Gloria Chu.
Got it, really.
Daniela is not here. Aaron Carr, Gavin. Cody is not here. Rustam,
Craig Slutskin.
Gavin,
Gavin.
Tam,
Gavin.
and Craig.
Craig.
You're really awesome if you're just like abstain.
Yeah, that wouldn't make a difference.
So we do not have the majority needed to pass this, so we will move on to the next office, and then this will be voted on at the next meeting, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Winging it here. All right, so the next office is for the office of Vice President. Are there any nominations for the office of Vice President?
Oh, I nominate, Mary.
Do you accept?
Yes.
That's here.
Can you hear that?
Thank you.
Are there any other nominations for Vice President?
I will nominate Allison Bowen.
Allison, do you accept?
Yes.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, so now we will go to a vote.
No.
No, oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. You're new at this, I get it. It's fine.
All right,
It's
so
fine. You're
now
doing
we'll
great.
go, each candidate will make a statement. Allison, you're first.
Great. Again, my name is Allison Bowen. I've served on the CEC for the past 2 years. I have 3 kids in the public school, middle school, elementary school, and pre-K. The initiatives that I have led over the past couple of years include an improvement to the middle school admissions process to give options for screen programs in addition to the lottery system. And I've also been very focused over the past year on a math path, bringing more advanced academics and accelerated education, specifically in the area of math, to students in District 2. I would support whoever is elected as president as an assistant to them in their leadership capacities in the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Tam.
Yeah, so D2 has been my home for forever, it feels like. I am a professor at NYU, so I've been teaching there for 18 years now. I have the pleasure of seeing more and more New York City public school students, including New York City public students with disabilities, coming into NYU, and that should be the norm and not the exception to the norm. Outside of supporting students in my day-to-day life, I've been heavily involved in New York City public schools since pre-COVID, when I realized that District 2 was a little different than some of the other districts in terms of access, in terms of equity. And when I think of equity, I think of access. I think of access points for students. And so I'm committed to that. I've been the chair of the SLT at PS3 when my son was in elementary school. I've been the chair of the SLT here at Clinton, which has been a learning experience for me. We'll just leave it there. But I do know how to work educational policy. I understand educational policy. It's what I do every day. I know how to advocate for students. I do it every single day. I work for D2 families. I work for D2 students. You call me, I'll give you my time, I'll give you my effort, I'll give you my energy. And I plan to bring that here to this council and work together to get some real shit done.
We will now go to a vote on Vice President. Allison Bowen.
Allison Bowen.
Daniela is not here. Oh, I'm sorry, Gloria.
Tam Reed.
Daniela is not here. Aaron, Tam, Cody is not here. Rustam,
Allison Bowen.
Gavin,
Tam.
Tam.
Oh, oh, you're talking about me. Tam, I'll vote for myself, thank you.
And Craig.
Allison.
Okay, we do not have a consensus, so this will be voted on at the next meeting. So now we will be moving on to recording secretary is next, yes. Do I have any nominations for recording secretary?
I nominate Eric.
Can I be nominated?
Now, then I'll do that. I'll do that.
Okay.
Okay. So we have one nomination, Erin Carr. Do we have, I will nominate Daniela Egorov. She has accepted the nomination. She's not here tonight, but she can accept it remotely. Okay. So we will now go to the 2-minute speech.
Okay. So first, I'm honored to have been elected to the CEC2 to serve the families of District 2. And it would be a privilege to serve as recording secretary for the council. I have two children, as I mentioned before. One attends my neighborhood school, PS 41, and the other is a senior at NYU Tisch. I believe in the value of the New York City public school system and in ensuring equitable access to high-quality education for all students. My priority is championing student needs, not political agendas. In terms of experience, I'm entering my second year as co-corresponding secretary on the PS 41 PTA's executive board and have served in various capacities, including secretary, treasurer, and president on multiple boards and associations over the years. I hope to be a stabilizing presence on the council as we rebuild from the last term. Thank you.
I will decline, I'll decline from a statement for Danielle. I don't think it's needed at this point. Okay, so we will take the vote for recording secretary. Allison Bowen.
Daniela Edgar.
Gloria Chu.
Erin Carr.
Daniela Egorov is out. Erin Carr.
Aaron.
Cody is out. Rustan.
Daniela Egorov.
Gavin Healy.
Aaron Parker.
Tam.
Aaron.
And I will vote for Daniela. And Sabina's not here. So the vote is 4 for Erin, 3 for Daniela. So there is no no one is voted in. We will go to treasurer. Do you want to do it?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, are there any nominations for treasurer?
I would like to nominate Gloria. She'll take that.
Yes.
Are there any other nominations for treasurer?
I'll nominate Allison Bowen again.
Allison, do you accept?
Yes.
And we will go to candidate statements. So Allison is first.
I'm declining, as I just gave a statement.
Okay. And Gloria?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Gloria, and I'm excited to be running for the position of treasurer for CECD2 council. I want the position of treasurer because as a newly elected member of the council, I feel it's important to not only have the presence on and doing the work on the council, but I also want the opportunity to take on more responsibility and support the council itself. With a degree in finance and an earlier advertising career in media planning, I geek out over spreadsheets. I am good with numbers and I'm very organized. I believe I can help our council manage our budget and ensure we file and have our reimbursements in a timely manner. I look forward to working collaboratively with the president when that is elected and the administrative assistant to make sure we are accomplishing all the tasks for the treasurer. Thank you for your attention and consideration. Vote Gloria for treasurer.
Okay, we will go to a vote. Allison Bowen,
Allison Bowen.
Gloria Chu,
Gloria Chu.
Daniela is not here, Erin Carr, Gloria Chu. Cody is not here, Rustam,
Allison Bowen.
Gavin Healy,
Gloria Chu.
Tam,
Gloria?
Craig.
Allison.
Okay, as we are split on the vote again, we do not have a consensus, and this will also be pushed to the next meeting.
Okay, so I now adjourn the annual meeting and call to order our calendar meeting. I will take a roll call in the absence of a recording secretary. Allison Bowen.
Here.
Allison Bowen is here. Gloria Chu.
Present.
Gloria Chu is here. Daniela Egorov. Daniela Egorov is out and excused, as we discussed before. Erin Carr.
Here.
Erin Carr is here. Cody Lindquist is out and excused, as we discussed before. Russ Mavlinov.
Here.
Russ is here. Gavin Healy.
Here.
Gavin is here. Tam Reed. Tam is here. Craig Slutskin is here. And Sabina Serenise is out and excused, as we discussed before. Okay, we do not have any, so we have a quorum. We have 7 people here, so that's a quorum. There are no program presentations tonight, so we will now go into the public speaker session. Everybody, as public speakers or speakers from the public may speak for up to 2 minutes on any topic that they have interest in. And Victor will bring me up the sign-in sheet. Erin is going to be, as a Councilmember Carr has agreed to be the timekeeper. She will tell you, that's not working. She will tell you at the 2-minute point. Just this one page? Okay. Okay. So the first speaker, and we're gonna have you speak by that table over there, is Joe Vitale. When I went up the mic, I apologize, we were supposed to be in the room downstairs. Then they gave us the speaker system that doesn't work with the mics, and their mic isn't working. So if you could just speak loud, but Gavin, is your microphone on? Yeah, this way, because it's close enough. Thank you.
Okay, I've spoken before at these meetings. I am a former female athlete, and I support Resolution 248, and I oppose Resolution 280, and I oppose Resolution 281. And I am dedicating my speech today to the University of Pennsylvania that finally came to its senses and said that biological males cannot compete in girls' sports. And also, 248 cannot be rescinded, even though Gavin and I guess some of his lackeys keep on presenting resolutions to rescind 248. It cannot be rescinded because 248 has already gone through its life cycle. And I think some of these panelists need to know that there's a pharmaceutical undercurrent, a pharmaceutical push, so that kids think they're born, quote unquote, born in the wrong bodies. Pfizer gives money to the Board of Education. And as a former substance use abuser, Aaron, because you made that public information, I think you should care.
I'm gonna, sorry. Oh, sorry, no. Excuse me. Pause the time. No, sorry. Let me, can I say something? Sorry, Joe, hold on a second. Joe, hold on a second. Joe, give me 1 second. Joe.
What did you do to California?
Okay, Joe, I'm gonna ask you to stop, Joe, I'm gonna ask you to time out.
Don't want you to.
Time out. Okay.
The way you wrote.
Joe, I'm gonna ask you to, Joe, I'm gonna ask you to, just 1 second, just, okay. Thank you, your time is done, thanks, Joe. Okay, so, sorry, I'm gonna ask that people do not attack. No, I'm talking about her. I'm talking about, could you let me finish? I'm gonna ask people not make attacks on the personal lives of council members. Whether, Joe, please let me speak, let me finish, okay? We will cut your time, no matter if it's for any member of this council. I'm gonna cut your time and stop you at that point. Please do not make those comments about personal, okay? That's the warning. Thank you. Okay. You can't drive. I'll let you say if you want later. I understand. Okay, so, thank you. Next person is Annabelle.
You need to answer me the situation better.
Thank you. The next, okay, we're gonna move to the next
You
person.
made me leave last time.
I've never
Hello,
met you
everyone.
leave.
I'm glad to see some new faces on the board today. I wanted to take some time to address the newly elected members, get them up to speed on the importance of rescinding Resolution 248. As for myself, since my background is relevant to what I have to say, I am Dr. Angela Ruggiero. I have a PhD in chemical engineering that I earned through biomedical research. And I have kept myself up to date on academic literature on trans and gender diverse people. Unlike some people here who claim to know the science, I actually know the science. For example, state-level anti-transgender laws increased past year suicide attempts among transgender and non-binary young people in the USA. By Lee et al., published last year in Nature Human Behavior, used empirical data to establish a causal link between passage of an anti-queer bill and elevated rates of suicidality in trans and gender diverse youth. The suspected cause is due to the way that policy feeds back into culture. Discriminatory policy sets a permission structure that tells bigots it's okay to act in a discriminatory manner. Even though Resolution 248 doesn't have binding power, its passing is interpreted by some students and parents that's acceptable to torment trans students. It's been over a year since resolution passed. Some members from last term have tried to rescind the resolution. Others who voted for the resolution and resist rescinding it linger still. Know that you sit among people whose hands carry a sanguine sheen of blood. I know that you may not have signed up for this, yet here we are. You must decide to refuse to get blood on your own hands or choose to blind yourself to your hand staining red.
Thank you. The next speaker is Achilles. The next speaker is Achilles Gooden. Achilles, all right.
All right.
Okay.
There's no
Sarah.
mic.
No, there's no mic, but if you go by the podium. And Sarah, you're next. Sarah, you're next. Sarah, you're next.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so what we're asking you to do is in no way radical. We're asking you to uphold the very policies everyone agreed on as New Yorkers and as human beings and as educators, as people responsible for children, and as humans. We're asking you to uphold policies that already exist. We're asking you to not allow a Gestapo to break into our schools and make our children fear for their lives. We're asking you to uphold basic human decency. We're asking you to uphold existing laws about equality for trans and gender expansive students. We're not asking you to do anything crazy or ridiculous. You are the ones imposing things that are unnatural, that do not belong in your system. You're the ones imposing things like Section 238, Resolution 248. You're imposing things that shouldn't be there in the first place. The thing that immigrant rights and trans rights have in common is that we are fundamentally against the policing of people, whether that be the policing of nationality, national origin, and immigration status, or that be the policing of our bodies and our identities. Policing of people for doing nothing wrong except existing does not belong in any school district, much less a school district that stands for equality and excellence, such as New York State Public Schools. Resolution 281 is part of what New York City schools stand for, that everyone has the right to a safe, free, quality education. New York City regularly ranks one of the best education systems in the country. We have the highest rate of teacher pay in the entire nation. We are a school system dedicated to excellence, equality, humanity, and rights, and we should keep it that way. And a school system dedicated to excellence should not have issues like chronic absenteeism due to ICE raids. An excellent school system should not have transgender students feeling unsafe. An excellent school system stands for everyone, or it stands for no one. If New York City Public Schools can spit in the face of what it stands for, then it can happen anywhere. Because the same way if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. It can happen here, it can happen anywhere. And New York says no to fascism, including in our schools. Thank you.
The next speaker is Sarah Schechter-Ehrenberg. I want to welcome you back. Sarah was a council member last term. And then after her is Stephen Morales.
All right, I'm here today, happily on the audience to support the resolution 280. Is this loud enough? I'm pretty loud. And to rescind 248 and to support resolution 281 to keep ICE out of our schools. I don't think I have to go into why it's important for our community to mitigate the impact of 248 by rescinding it, and it will happen. Not today, it'll happen soon. The resolution to keep ICE out of our schools is vital. When it was introduced last month, things were terrible. Now they're worse. I don't know where kids go to school. It's not my beeswax, honestly. I do know one council member who is not looking at me, Allison. I know where her kid goes to school. I won't mention it. This is not my business to mention. And I know that school really well. Okay. I volunteered there. I was on the PTA there. Schools, bake sales, all sorts of things. Really engaged with the community. Maybe Allison's 300 voters came out of there. Maybe she'd look at them if they were up here, but I wasn't one of them, so I guess she's not going to look at me. I do know about that school is that it is it represents the city. It has individuals and families. We have mixed status families. We have families where parents might have documentation. I don't know, but I know it's a community and I know it's important, and we might not feel directly impacted by the ICE raids, but I don't know what it will take. You know, ICE took up a children's hospital pastor today. And there are really 2 children from the DOE that we know about. And where are they? And are they safe? Okay, we're not asking for anything more in this. They're not asking for anything more in this resolution than reaffirming what DOE already says and saying it's important here in D2 that ICE does not have status in our community, that they are not welcome, and we will keep them out. I'm asking for you to dig down deep, find an ounce of humanity, Allison, and think about.
Thank you.
That's a
Thank you.
fact.
It's not the same. It's not. Okay, the next person, okay, thank you. The next person,
That's right.
okay, please don't engage with each other. It's not gonna lead to. The next, please, just try to keep the peace. The next person, I don't excuse that either. The next person is Stephen Morales.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephen Morales. I'm Policy Director at the Office of Manhattan Borough President. And I'm here to read testimony on behalf of Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine. Community education councils play a vital role in policymaking and local engagement. We should spend their time, energy, and resources to ensure that our school system meets the needs of every single student. Every person on this CEC and every family in this district can agree there is work to do. That there are students in this district that need additional support, additional protection, and more resources. In March 2024, this CEC failed this standard and chose to pass a resolution that is entirely disconnected from any of the real educational challenges of the district. Resolution 248 is hateful and uses transphobic language to call for the reconsideration of guidelines that were put in place to ensure that no student, regardless of their gender identity or expression, would be discriminated. In the almost year and a half since that resolution passed, concerned parents, students, and community members have testified meeting after meeting, standing up for themselves and rallying around their transgender classmates and neighbors. The DOE Chancellor issued a firm statement of rejection, and my fellow elected officials and I have repeatedly called for this resolution to be rescinded. We have heard stories of the love and support that many transgender students and parents receive from their teachers, peers, and school staff every day. They have also shared the pain caused by Resolution 248. And its message that transgender students are not welcome. And they have asked the CEC to rescind Resolution 248 and reaffirm that all kids, including transgender kids, are safe and welcome in district schools. Now, as the new CEC term begins, it is time for CEC2 to stand up for transgender students, to reject culture war ideology, and to get back to the business of supporting our students and our schools. It is time to rescind Resolution 248. Thank you.
The next speaker is Christy Rose.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chrissy Rose. There are some new people here, which is so exciting. So to introduce myself, I'm a community member. I'm a black belt in full contact karate, a semi-knockdown champion, and I train and fight with people of all genders. So that includes cisgender women, transgender women, men, really everybody. I'm also a martial arts instructor and a self-defense instructor. I teach kids, I teach adults. So I have seen firsthand how important it is for kids and adults to be able to engage in sports and community. What I have not seen is any issue between the people involved in my role of sport in terms of having trans teammates. Our trans teammates just add to our experience. And so I'm really urging you today to overturn Resolution 248. I'm also urging you to pass Resolution 280, obviously, and 281. These two things are intimately connected. We're talking about fairness here a lot. And what's really not fair is to think that some kids don't deserve to participate fully and don't deserve to be safe. This gets couched in the language of like who wins and who gets to go to tournament and scholarships and this and that. And then that's held up against this other resolution where we're literally talking about second graders being in jail. We're talking about trans kids who don't feel safe to be at school and who actually feel like harming themselves because they're getting told over and over again that they don't belong. So that's what's really not fair to me is kids feeling like they're not safe and they don't belong. And we have the opportunity to send a really strong message here by passing both of these resolutions that we are New York City. We're going to do what we say we're going to do. We're going to do what's right, and we're going to stand up for all kids. So if there's anybody here on the council that doesn't understand the science behind trans people participating in sports, I encourage you to like really look into that because it's pretty clear that this is not an issue that we need to be worried about. This is a straw man argument that is designed to keep people from being included. So thank you so much.
I apologize, but it's sort of crossed out. Omar Vera, is that Omar? Okay.
I understand it's a little weird without the microphone, but
You'll be
I'll
fine.
do my best.
Sure, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Thanks. Welcome, everyone, to the summer edition of your board meeting. First, let me just congratulate the new members. Welcome. I hope that hopefully you can move this back in the right direction. Like, sure. But first we need like most of the previous speaker said, we need to reverse. We need to rescind and we need to overturn resolution 248 because it is a discriminatory measure that has no place in our city, no place in our state, and eventually no place in our country, no place in any society. Like no, any society. Like this is a resolution that was made by elements of the misnamed monster liberty, which I like to call monster subjugation. It is a hate group classified as such by the Southern Poverty Law Center. And its influence has no place here. So this is your opportunity to turn the page on Rob Marin's CEC District 2 and go for the new CEC District 2, which should rescind the bad resolution 248 and protect everyone. Because trans rights are human rights are trans rights. An attack on one is an attack on all. So it's justice for all, and like I said, this is your chance to rescind that god awful resolution and vote in favor of like more progressive, more forward working resolutions. And yeah, with that, I'll do the balance of my time and please keep good. Please rescind this resolution 248.
Thank you, Omar. Shannon? You're Shannon, right? Shannon, right? You're Shannon, right? I should know by now, but yes.
Nice to
Okay.
see you guys.
Nice to see you, of course.
Folks, I will be using the entirety of my time. I will not be yielding it. Thank you to let Allison be on her phone, read her paperwork, and anything else that is necessary.
Sorry, we're gonna pause this. Anthony, you're not a member of FACE. Anthony, could you, we're gonna ask you to speak by the podium. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Why are you here if you're not gonna listen? That was
Okay.
a great question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm using my time so Allison can conduct her business on her
Okay.
paperwork and her phone, and I will be using the full 2 minutes.
Okay.
Why'd you run if you don't want to participate?
Folks, I'm gonna ask that we remain quiet for this. Thank you.
Like this. Every time. Every. Are we not here to listen to the people? This is public.
Respectfully, it is still my time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon. Next speaker is Michael Jarvella. I apologize if I'm butchering it. Sorry if I butchered your name, Ryan. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I'm doing the best of the name.
Oh, yeah,
Best
yeah,
of-
that's fine. My handwriting's terrible.
Okay.
People get it wrong all the time. Hey, welcome, good evening. My name is Michael, I'm a DC parent. This is my 7th CEC. And welcome to the new board members. I'm looking for a fresh new start as well, like Gavin said, so well put. I would like to revisit something that I discussed in my first CEC meeting. I was super confused by the effort spent on resolutions that had very little to do with improving the experience of our kids' New York City public school education. So, as a parent, I'm against 248. And the reason is the simple argument to revisit the guidelines is just a waste of time. We have guidelines. They provide a safe, supportive environment. And to be very clear, and this is the thing that just annoys the hell out of me about this whole thing. I honestly don't want to be here. The only reason I come is because we've lost our way. This is about K through 8. This conversation is about K through 8, 8th grade. There is no issue with any sport being co-ed K through 8. Every single child should participate. In fact, every sport through 8th grade should be co-ed. I defy any cisgender man out there to not have their butt kicked in 2nd grade by a Christie, on the soccer field, on the basketball court, wherever. I'm telling you, it doesn't make a difference. It has nothing to do with scholarships, it has nothing to do with professional sports. So, I just want to make sure you're staying focused on the important work the CEC should be doing. Focusing on having a quote-unquote conversation around the possible harm co-ed sports K through 8 could pose is a waste of their time. Thank you.
Blair?
Some of you know I spoke about this last month. Some of you have not heard me talk about this. I'm here to express my vehement support for resolution 281. To me, it is incredibly reasonable. The 4 asks are all incredibly reasonable. To offer training and support to immigrant families and students, I think is reasonable. To offer that support in many languages, I think is reasonable. To continue to be a welcoming environment for immigrant families and children, I think should be the bare minimum. And then what seems to be the sticking point, the 4th point within this resolution, to me, also is reasonable and should be considered reasonable. ICE is already required to present a warrant signed by a judge to enter any interior space in a public school. It seems to me all this resolution is asking for is for this district to not willingly hand over students to a government body that has already acted extrajudicially in taking away people of a variety of immigration statuses. I think it's asking this district to keep their students safe. I don't think it's an unreasonable ask, and I hope that everyone on this board votes in favor of it. And if there are members of this board that are considering voting against it, I would deeply appreciate if they would express why in the discussion of resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the public session. Thank you. The first public speaker session. Thank you for that. Okay, we'll move over to the report of the president, and I wasn't sure who was going to be the president, so I didn't prepare an extensive report, but I do want to say a few things. I do want to welcome both the returning and the new members. I want to look forward to a productive relationship with each and every one of you. Last term was, let's say, just interesting, but I think we can get a lot accomplished if we remain productive. We may not agree on policy all the time, but I think our end goals, a great public school system, are the same. I would like to start by acknowledging that this is Disability Pride Month through the NYPS's Inclusive Schools NYC initiative. This school system offers resources, student membership opportunities, community events, and much more for all grades. If you want, you can learn more by visiting schools.nyc.gov/disability-pride-month. I do want to remind everybody that New York City offers free summer meals for everyone 18 years and younger. You can find locations at www.on.nyc.gov /summer meals, one word. They're at select schools, community pool centers, parks, and libraries. You don't need to sign up. You don't need to show any ID or show any paperwork. Just show up and just, they'll give you food. Just go to the location. You can enjoy breakfast from 8 to 9:15. Lunch is served from 11 to 1:15. There are even food trucks from 10 to 4 during the week and 10 to 3 on weekends at 3 locations in the city. The Sarah Delano Roosevelt Park and Christie and Forsyth Streets downtown, Prospect Park in Brooklyn, and Haffen Park at Eli and Hammersley. Sorry, I think it's Hammersley Avenue in the Bronx. Finally, I do want to give well wishes to a senior member of the New York City public school system who's going to be transitioning from his current position. It was announced that the first Deputy Chancellor, Dan Weisberg, will be leaving his post this month, or next month rather. Dan was instrumental in many different initiatives in the 3.5 years in his role, including being a lead part in New York City Reads, New York City Solves, opening of many new schools, and so much more. I always found Dan to be super accessible. If you saw him in the audience at the PEP meeting and you sat right next to him and started talking to him, he absolutely talked to you and discussed policy or any of your concerns. So I want to congratulate Dan and wish him well on his future endeavors. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Superintendent McGuire for the superintendent's report. And for the folks at home, I'm going to get it up and just give me a second. I'll put it on screen. Screen.
Oh, you want a second?
No, I'm good.
Good evening, everybody. Great to see you. Welcome, new council members. Welcome, public. Happy to see you here this evening as well. A relatively short presentation tonight, but also always happy to take questions as well from the council. We're going to talk about 4 things. We're going to talk about our summer rising. Oh, sorry. We're going to talk, no problem. We're going to talk about our Summer Rising program, the work that we're doing around New York City Reads, New York City Solves, some of the district planning work that we're doing here in District 2, and then also an update on our cell phone policy and a few other bits and pieces. But to start out, this is a scene. This is a scene from the first day of Summer Rising at Texas, PS 343, where we are holding one of our Summer Rising programs. Summer Rising this year is a little bit new. Summer Rising has always been something a bit different than summer school. This year we have added components around enrichment, arts, and rich activities. Oh yeah. So we've added additional programs. So across District 2, students who are participating in Summer Rising are participating in esports and coding, social emotional learning through the arts, creative expression, financial literacy, and they're expanding Honor Civics for All work. We have about 3,000 kids who are participating across District 2 in our Summer Rising program. Only about 100 of those kids are officially mandated to be there, so it's very exciting that so many kids have come out with their families and enrolled in the Summer Rising program. We were at Flip a little bit earlier this week, and we were able to go through classrooms and see the different things that are going on. Our students are engaged in not just fun things that are happening in the classroom, but also there's an academics program that focuses part on literacy, part on mathematics, and just there's a great turnout there and a really group of energetic group of teachers who are working alongside Casey Corey, who is the principal in charge of the Peck Slope School. Again, we have programs in both our elementary schools and middle schools, again, serving about 3,000 kids. For families who are currently on the wait list, we expect that starting tomorrow, we're going to start pulling kids off of those wait lists. In fact, some of that might have already begun today, because we do want to make sure that any vacant seats that we have are being filled by families who are still looking for a seat for their kids. But Summer Rising has been a huge success across District 2 and across the city ever since it was put into place right after the pandemic, and we hope to see it continue in the years ahead. We also are engaged in a bunch of different learning opportunities across our district for our teachers, our school leaders, and coaches, teaching coaches that are working in our schools. So some of the work that we're doing is around our core curriculum planning, wit and wisdom, and illustrative math. We're also continuing to make sure that our teachers are up to skill in regard to foundational literacy programs, which we use primarily in our kindergarten through second grade. And we have some new intervention programs that are being rolled out by our central office. And so we're participating in trainings that are focused on some of those, which are primarily around literacy and mathematics. Our student services managers, we have two folks who are kind of like, I described them to the council. We had breakfast this morning. And I described our student services managers kind of like the head guidance counselors for the district. They're continuing to train a lot of our teachers and teams in therapeutic crisis intervention, which really just helps all teachers manage and support kids in their classrooms, not just when they're having challenges, but also to help make sure that they're creating the kind of environment in which challenging behaviors are de-escalated, so that we can make sure that we're focused on the good stuff that happens across our classrooms. We have, I mentioned earlier this year that we were bringing on some new teachers as a part of our expansion into lowering class size across the district. Our teachers are going to be participating formally in a citywide workshop later in August, just focused on new teachers, but some of that work is also happening in our District 2 schools. We are continuing to hire in District 2. And that is, we had some vacancies just through natural attrition, but we are continuing to hire because we are bringing in new positions in our district to help to lower class size. And then those of you who have been a part of SLTs in the past may be a part of the comprehensive education plan, which is just really a set of goals that are focused on the work in the schools, helping to increase learning, helping to decrease incidences of behavior actions, helping to increase attendance. So our principals actually tomorrow, we're going to be doing some work with them across the district on goal development and helping them work together to really get good ideas from each other around their CEP goals. I wanted to just lift up one of the things that's happening in our district, which is we are engaged in some conversations around the possibility of merging two of our middle schools together, the Salk School of Science and 75 Morton Middle School. This work has been going on for the past couple of months in our district. The aim here really is to work toward an opportunity that would really strengthen both schools in our district. We think that through a merged school that would be housed at the 75 Morton building, we could create great options for our District 2 families, not just for the kids who are currently in middle school, but for many, many years ahead, strengthen real opportunities for families across the district. We're always looking to try to meet the needs of families and have great options in middle school. We think that you could do that through a partnership with SALT and 75 Morton. So far, we've met with all of the staff from both of the schools. We've met with both SLTs. We've held community town halls with large numbers of families from both schools. And also we've talked really closely with the school leaders from both of those middle schools. Starting in the next couple of weeks, we are beginning our joint meetings. There's a couple of teams of people from both of these two schools that are going to be coming together to talk about what might be possible. And so we're going to make sure that through that work, we're going to vision together a little bit, see what the key issues and topics are that might be important to the two different communities. Think about what type of programs that we might want to have in the schools that would meet the needs of all kids, and then begin to draft some proposals. Now, that probably won't really happen until the early fall of next week. But that is what we're kind of working toward as a part of any kind of school merger that happens. The district is responsible for working with an office called the Office of District Planning to create a draft proposal. And then that draft proposal goes in front of the Panel for Education Policy. Panel for Education Policy meets on a monthly basis, or they can meet more regularly. At the very, very earliest, we could potentially see a proposal brought to the Panel for Education Policy in late fall, early winter of next year, but it might take longer than that. Nothing is happening for the coming year. Any kind of plan that we are going to work on trying to develop, the earliest that could happen would be for the fall 2026, but it might be longer than that as well. But we're beginning this conversation for a few different reasons. We know that these schools have strong communities. We know that these schools can partner together to really create a strong environment. We believe there's a strong vision that can be created between the two schools. And so we're looking forward to some partnership and some meetings ahead. Also, in the topic of district planning, in our district is that the Ballet Tech School, which is an incredibly popular school in our district, is working to double in size. It is a school that is housed in a building that is owned in part by the Ballet Tech Foundation. They have begun the process of creating more space in the building so that we can double the size of the school, which is currently about 120 kids in grades 4 through 8. Ballet Tech is a special school that recruits kids from all over the city and recruits kids who are really interested in pursuing dance as a serious part of their academic program. Again, they pull kids from all over the city, serving grades 4 through 8. So we're doubling in size in 4th grade next year, working to eventually double in size in grades 4 through 8. So that's great. I also wanted, this is a lot of text here, but there is new state legislation, in case you haven't heard, in regard to cell phone and internet enabled devices. That's actually the language, not just cell phones, internet enabled devices. It includes Apple Watches or other kinds of smart watches that kids might wear to school. So there is a bell-to-bell ban that is going to be put into place. We are just beginning to get some of the details of how New York City will interpret that work. The Panel for Education Policy, I think, is actually meeting tonight to adopt a citywide set of guidelines that will then be handed to schools. And then schools will be working with their communities, their staffs, and their SLTs to create their school-based plan for implementing the distraction-free schools legislation. Schools are going to be required to have at least one way that they will house and store cell phones and electronic devices during the school day. The focus is really on helping kids to create opportunities for them to communicate with each other, socialize with each other, be a part of, use those times. I remember this very funny little side story was when I was a principal. We did not allow cell phones in our school, but we did allow kids to, we didn't allow cell phones in our schools. And one of the kids was like trying to work really, really hard to lobby for the ability to have a cell phone during lunchtime. And I remember her saying to me, she's like, we really should have a cell phone, be able to have our cell phones out during lunch, because what about those awkward times when you're just like standing next to somebody in line for lunch and, you don't really want to talk about them. So you pull out your cell phone and, you just need something to do during those awkward moments. It's like, maybe during those awkward moments, we can now talk to each other. We think that it's going to be a good thing for our city and for our schools. There's going to be plenty of access to electronic devices in our schools for research. We also are going to be implementing as a part of school-based plans exemptions. So there are a few different ways that kids might be exempt from this legislation. They may be exempt if they have if their phone is used as a medical device. They're like collecting data about glucose or something, blood sugar. They might have an exemption if they are the sole caregiver for a younger child. They might have an exemption if it's specifically related to a disability. So there's a variety of ways in which the students may receive an exemption, but for the most part, students will not have access to an internet-enabled device from bell to bell, and schools will be required to provide at least one way for them to store that away from themselves. And also along with this is some legislation around ensuring that there's always going to be a way for families to get in contact with their child. And there is some something built into legislation around discipline. Students can't be suspended for being found with an internet-enabled device in their pocket. So more to come with this. There's going to be some funding next year to help to support schools in making this transition. But it's another one of our topics that we're going to talk about tomorrow with our principals. And then finally, just a few dates. These are the final dates for Summer Rising, August 8th through grades 6 through 8, August 15th for our elementary school students, and then the extended school year program, which is primarily for our students with disabilities who have services that extend throughout the school year. We have a site in District 2 that serves about 100 kids from District 1 and District 2 combined. That site is in District 1. That last day is August 12th, although some of those students do participate in Summer Rising. And then the first day of school is September 4th. With that, thanks.
Flyer. I'm gonna start with one question and I have others, but I'm gonna let other people go. First. So on the class size implementation, where you're talking about you hired a number of teachers already and where are the teachers in general coming from? Are they more Teach for America? Are we poaching other districts and taking other districts qualified teachers away? Where are you getting them from?
I think a lot of different places. I have been talking with new teachers and talking with our principals in terms of finding out where they're hiring teachers from. We have traditionally hired a lot of teachers from Success Academy at charter schools. Yesterday, I was sitting with some teachers who were both had come from private Catholic schools and independent schools. And there are some teachers who are transferring from other schools in the district or from other parts of the state.
Is it a significant amount of other parts of the city?
It's hard to say. I don't really know. I only can speak anecdotally from the people that I've spoken with, the principals that I've spoken with.
Okay, so I'll let other people ask questions. Go ahead.
I don't know how it works, sorry.
No.
It's interrupting. So my question is about the implementation of the new statewide, the section 3, if you want to put it in a positive. Like, there are schools that already have that. This school is one of them, right? This school already has that in effect for certain grades, the 8th being one of them, and then I believe it's 9th and 10th. That was done a couple of years ago, and I know that there are other schools that are also following their own cell phone bans that they pass through their SLP. What will you do to ensure that those schools who did not have carve-outs or exceptions for students with disabilities who need that assistive tech, who need that executive functioning support? What will you do to make sure that the schools not only are fully aware of those carve-outs in the law, but that they can integrate that with them?
So, like I said, the first layer of legislation was coming from the state, and then another layer was being approved today, I think, by the panel for education policy. Then that is going to go directly to schools. Schools are going to have to develop their own plans and put that in writing. Those plans are going to have to be shared directly with families, so the families are aware of all that. And as a part of that plan, they have to indicate how it is that they are going to be making exceptions for the students who fall into the different categories of those that are permitted. That, like I said, that information is going to be going out to families. I think that we would rely primarily on families letting schools know that their child needs an electronic device for their learning or to help to support their learning. it is also a part of work that we're doing tomorrow, actually, to talk with schools about what types of exceptions they might be looking for that would be directly related to students' learning and where it is that they might want to consider an exception for a particular child.
Questions?
Maybe.
Allison, that's not both.
I wanted to turn to the conversation about the potential merger of Salt and Morton. And I had a few questions, but it is part of a larger question, which is how is the District 2 community as a whole going to be able to sound in on the proposal for Morton Salt? Because the decisions that are made now are really impacting the kids who aren't there now. And when I think of Morton Street, for example, and I know it's been under-enrolled, but it is the zone school for a very large section of Manhattan. I'm thinking about the potential students who are looking at going there and have not selected to go there in one. So that's a question about how is the wider community going to be able to be engaged. And then a couple of other things that are questions that I just want to bring up, and maybe you can answer, maybe you can't at this point in time. Is one's a zone school and one is not. So has there any been discussion about how those two get rectified? And then the other thing is the timing of this announcement and the approval from PP doesn't seem to coincide with the admission cycle for middle school. So I would find that if you do approve something to start for the fall of 2026, that you may have caused a problem because people aren't selecting these schools because of lack of certainty as to what's happening during the admission cycle earlier in the year. So if you could talk to all three of those points, that would be helpful.
Yep. So formally, there are some events that will happen that will be public events. The meetings that we've had so far have been, isolated to just one of the two school communities, and this first kind of like coming together to talk about things is not a public meeting. However, once we get into the school year next year, there will be scheduled joint public hearings. Emphasis on the word public there, and any District 2 family member, District 2 family or member of the community can come and speak at that event and listen to discussion of proposals and plans. So that happens within District 2 at least once in the fall, probably a couple of times. And then there will also be another public hearing that will take place at the PEP meeting itself. So there will be these two events that will be open to the public.
Do you have any preliminary dates for those yet?
We don't. And I think that leads into kind of like the third thing that you're talking about in regard to timing, which is, yes, it would be, timing is always like a tricky thing for sure. And, I think that everybody would like to have a sense as to where this conversation is going. It is both, exciting to think about the possibilities, but it also really nerve-wracking to think about the possibilities. And I recognize that families that will be impacted are, sitting in a little bit of uncertainty, which is not a great thing. But we do want to make sure that we are giving this process the time that it needs. And so, families start touring middle schools in October and November. And but I just have to be respectful of the positions that families are coming with, the feelings that families might have in regard to this district planning event that we're working on, and give it the proper time. So I'm just being realistic, I guess, a little bit when I think about early winter as a possibility. That being said, when something like this happens, the enrollment office does change their rules or their deadlines for the submission of applications, and also reopens the process a little bit for families who might want to make a change after a proposal is passed by the panel for education policy.
That sounds kind of like a mess.
Well, yeah, I think it might be messier if we didn't, right? But I think all of it is in effort to try to help, try to give families like the space to make the choice that's gonna be best for their child. And so I wouldn't wanna rush anything. I wouldn't wanna rush anything.
Of
And so
course.
even if the timelines don't necessarily work super well with that.
But could you then, or is there discussion on the table that the changes that get approved by PEP, say it's early 2026, don't actually get implemented till fall of 27 as opposed to fall of 26, or is there a hard deadline to implement for
That
26?
could happen. Yeah, that could for sure happen, that it would be delayed by a year. And also just to share that once the proposal goes to the PEP, the PEP doesn't have any change, doesn't have any capacity to change the proposal. They just vote yes or no. Yeah. But the time for changing the proposal is, after something gets, there's probably gonna be a lot of changes in the proposal, including perhaps issues around school configuration. One of the topics that you brought up was in regard to the admissions method that 75 Morton is currently a zoned school. Talking about the admissions method for the school is something that would need to be a part of this conversation as well. And there's a bunch of different scenarios in which it could remain a zone school, it could remain a lottery school. There's just like different things that could happen. We have to see what happens when we start talking about this stuff with the two communities.
Thank you.
Yes.
So the first question is about summarizing and particularly about extended school year services for students with disabilities and summarizing. You mentioned that there's a joint D1 and D2 site for that, but I understand that's actually located, like geographically located in District 1.
Correct, yeah.
Island School. So is there any possibility of getting extended school year in a school like physically located within District 2? And then also, is there any possibility of getting ICT for summer?
Yeah. So there is not funding currently to house. There's also a ESY site in District 3, and those are the only, to my knowledge, those are the two sites that exist in Manhattan for the community school districts. And so there's not currently plans or to open a third site, but that's always something that could be looked at. I believe, again, I think that the number of kids who are attending the school in District 1 is about 100 kids. And then there are additional kids who are going to PS 188 to receive mandated services that are on their IEP, mostly mandated related services that are on their IEP for 12 months. So that's like an additional group of kids who are also there. ICT for summer school or for summer rising. We have good ratios of adults to kids in our summer rising programs between teachers and paraprofessionals. In a lot of the classrooms that we visited at PECSLIP, there were 4 adults. The great thing about summer rising as a program also is that people know it's the morning that is sponsored by New York City Public Schools and the afternoon that's supported by the Department of Youth and Community Development. Staff members from DYCD and the community-based organizations are actually working during the school day as well to help to support the programs in classrooms. So there are a lot of adults in the classes. The classes are still pretty small, and while there is not officially ICT as a service, because that's not a part of extended school year, there are often 2 teachers that are in the classroom and always multiple adults. So it would be something to think about though, and consider, because it would be a good service to have to help build the capacity of our summarizing programs. I can say that what's really great is that we have a school that supports a Horizons program in grades K through 5. And almost all of the students who are in the autism spectrum disorder Horizons program are attending Summer Rising, which is really great. And there's some specialized supports and services that are in that classroom for that group of kids too.
So my other question actually is related, but it goes to the prospective merger of Soft and Morton. And I just note that Morton is a great school. I mean, I think that some of you may have visited it because one of our CEC meetings not too long ago was there at Morton. Physically, it's a beautiful school, but I mean, it's a beautiful community as well. But we know that there are, I think, 1,016 seats at 75 Morton. And so even with the merger, there is some room to grow. And one of the things that I would like to ask about is how do we, as a community, advocate for an ASD Nest program to be incorporated as part of any plan going forward for that building, that site, because we know that there are students who are traveling from District 2 into Brooklyn to get an ASD Nest. So, obviously having the ASD Nest program in the West Village would be phenomenal. So what can we do to sort of get that on the table in these meetings and get this to the DOE?
ASD Nest is an incredibly successful program in our schools. We have a program at PS42 and a program at Lab Middle, and incredibly successful. And I would love to see, I want to make sure that we're working with the community and listening to folks from both sides, or both schools, not sides, it's a partnership. Working with both schools to put something like that into place, but an ASD Nest program, I think would be a great complement to a merged school. So I will advocate for it, and also you can speak with members of the community who currently have their kids attending those.
Before I ask my other question, because I want to give people who have not spoken. Or any questions? You spoke. I'm kidding. It's fine. It's fine.
Other
Teasing.
people got
I'm joking.
questions,
I'm
right?
joking, Tim. Go ahead.
Just speaking about inclusion and speaking about C75 programming and Nest and this merger and the hiring of so many new teachers, which is fantastic, and I'm excited, and I hope that we have, lots of, new teachers coming in who bring a different background and a different skill set that we don't see already represented in District 2. But I was curious if you're hiring paras as part of this kind of recruitment and, influx of new people. We have such a shortage of paraprofessionals to the point where kids are sharing their one-on-one para with an entire classroom full of students, or getting, go to a different classroom altogether and become a teacher's aide for the day instead of supporting their students. And we know what happens when the students lose their para. I've seen it, and it's nothing nice. So is there a plan to attract, recruit, retain a whole bunch of paraprofessionals? Please tell me that
It's definitely part of, it's definitely something that's really important to our schools. It's important to me. The central team is working to recruit more paraprofessionals to apply for positions. We have people who are in our district actually who have made connections in our different universities and are bringing in paraprofessionals to work even before they graduate from school. We're always looking for more paraprofessionals. It's a fantastic way to get into education. It's a fantastic job and make a real contribution. But you are not wrong. There is a shortage across the city, and it's something that is being worked on centrally, and that the central is, the team around recruitment and retention is very focused on what.
So it's not a funding issue, it's recruitment.
It's not a funding issue.
And retention maybe issue.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I think recruitment for the most part, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, to follow up on that, what is the retention rate for paras? Do you have any sense? And factoring in paras who become teachers, because you're not retaining them as a para, but they're moving to become a teacher. So I don't view that as a loss.
Yeah.
Because they're staying in the system. But do you have a sense as to
but
Can you
I
see if you can find,
yeah.
I'm just curious what the retention rate for the paras are.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that is, it's always a concern because they're so it is a very woefully underpaid position. As I think a lot of us agree and are concerned about, but I'm curious to see how many of them leave the system, not move to other positions or move to other positions within the DOE. Just, you know, what is that retention rate? So
Yeah,
we can-
but it's a great position. They're good team members. They have benefits. Who's looking out there? And you know, pensions, like all of this. It's a good position.
So I have two follow-up questions on SALT. Sorry, I know it's a big issue, but it's a very big concern for many parents. So just the first one is on a procedural one. If the merged school is not a zone school, doesn't keep the zone that Morton has, you'd have to rezone students to someplace, right? If you lived in the West Village and you were zoned from Morton, you're not gonna be zoned from Morton or the combined school, you're gonna be zoned somewhere else. From a procedural standpoint, doesn't that come to us also? Right, so that's another hearing that we would have to have to approve the rezoning lines, just so everybody on the council understand. I think they do, but just. The other thing, if you can comment on, is while I think that the suggestion of ASD Nest is an excellent one. There's also rumors of it becoming a 6 through 12 school. It's out there, so.
Yeah. It's a very popular proposal.
Right, can you talk about that? If you can, and you may not be able to, maybe too early in the process.
What I can say is that I have heard from members of the Salt Middle School community and members of the 75 Morton Middle School community and elected officials and other community members that a 6 through 12 school would be very popular in the building. I wish that there were 1,000 seats that were only allocated to us, but there is a District 75 program on one floor in the building, which is great. We want to keep them.
Yeah, I would not advocate moving it because I think they probably moved too much as an afterthought to D75. So I'm not advocating moving it.
Yeah. I'm just saying that the capacity of the school would be around 850. Which
what is Clinton's? What is Clinton's?
It's about that.
Okay.
Yeah. And there are other 6 through 12s that are a little bit smaller. Some that are obviously a little bigger. So, but it's definitely one of those things that people are excited to talk about.
Okay. And then the other question is just to follow up on a point that Councilmember Healy made. I think it was in the last meeting or maybe 2 meetings ago on Summer Rising and the issue of the busing, where students can stay for, I think it was a half a day and they get their bus home, but is the program for the afternoon as well, and they don't really get a bus for that, so they kind of get left behind. Has there been any more discussions or any movements on that?
The busing right now is just for the academic portion.
So there is no discussion.
Not for extended school year, but
right. There is no. Okay. And how can we advocate for that, or is there any advocacy at this point? Any discussion?
You should bring it up at a CECD meeting. Oh. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Well, I'm bringing it up to my superintendent.
Okay, yeah, bring it up to your superintendent.
But I don't think you're not the division of transportation, so I understand it's not you, but.
Yes,
right.
yes, but it's also a very popular request amongst families.
Yes.
And has been made pretty regularly.
Is that a dollars problem?
I don't exactly know, to be honest with you, but
okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions for the superintendent?
Kids are not getting Omni cards, Kelly. What the heck is going on? Okay, so those cards, for those people who've never seen an Omni card before, students get an Omni card if they live, far enough away from the school, or they take transportation, and have to commute. This card just stopped working for a lot of students several months ago, and my son is jumping the turnstile, and I'm like, well, just don't get caught and just give that ticket or that fine, to your school and make them pay for it, which hopefully, but it's an issue, and parents aren't getting through to the schools, like they're just not, procuring or following up. So is there a place that we can go where we can get a new Omni card? If we put a request in the school, isn't honoring that request, or they're short staffed or whatever the deal is? Or where do we go? What do we do?
Yes, your school is the right place to go for.
Well, I'm here.
No, I know. The school is the right place to go for a replacement Omni card. There are a couple of things. There was there was a supply problem. And also, I guess like as a precursor to that, the Omni cards are not as robust material as the soon to be former Metro cards are. And so I know that some schools are doing some things like laminating the Omni cards, but this is a problem that the city is aware of from the central office. And there's been some discussion around some different possibilities of how it is that they can support schools so that so that Omni cards aren't being destroyed. In terms of just supply, that there has to be supply, and you should go to your school, and your schools this is one of those things in which everybody in the school and parents whose kids are missing an Omni card are completely on the same page, because everybody wants their child to have an Omni card. It's a great program. I remember CEC actually advocating for the extension of Metro cards for kids so that they could use it after school or on the weekends. So it's something that everybody agrees with. And we need to make sure that we get them out.
So what do we do right now? So students, he's not, my son's not the only person that has this issue. His card is not defective, like it wasn't bent, there was nothing wrong with it, just stopped working. Lots of kids have that same issue where it just stops working. And so he's jumping the turnstile and going around and doing all of the tutoring and all of the activities that's why they're 365 days a year.
Yeah.
Those Omni cards, it's not just to get to school and back. So where can we go to get one like now if it's been like months and we're still not getting it?
I do think that you can go to your school, but I also will see what we can be
done
done.
that. And
I'll see what we can do centrally with our transportation homes.
Any other questions for the superintendent? Okay, thank you. Appreciate your report. It's good to see you as always. Okay, next is the Board of Committees, but we don't have any committees yet. We haven't formed that, and we'll do that in a future meeting. Discussion of resolutions. So we will start with this is the time where the council can discuss amongst themselves. Of course, you're here to listen. The resolutions themselves. Resolution 280, resolution to affirm CEC2's, CEC2 support of NYCPS's guidelines to support transgender and gender expansive students, and rescind resolution 248. Does anybody from the council wish to speak further on this?
I just have to say.
Yeah.
It's a couple of days because I've talked about this a lot, obviously. One thing I did after this resolution came up to the council in 2024 was I did research. I talked to a lot of people. I read a lot of articles. I had a long conversation with people from the public school athletic, which apparently the sponsors of the resolution never did. And they told me a lot of things, a lot of interesting things. One thing they did not tell me, we talked about what are the problems facing the public school athletic league in New York City. And the thing they did not tell me what the problem was, transgender students participating in sports. That did not come up as a problem. The problems are problems of resources that we should be advocating for. We had 1,800 schools in New York City. We have public schools. We have 61 full-size athletic fields. 2 of them are in the path, just 2. So, there are certainly issues we should be bringing up, we should be raising in respect to sports. But this regulation is not wrong. There are a lot of other more important things. We've also seen, again, we are a council, by state law, we are in the parents who vote for us are parents who have students in district pre-K through 8th grade. We do not represent high school parents on this council. It's a separate citywide council of high schools that does that. So, we're really concerned with, K to 8. And we know that sports are important for our students to be included as part of social emotional learning. It's, generally not about competition. And I think it's really important that students, all students, regardless of their gender, their identity, their gender expression, regardless of anything, they go and they can play a sport with their friends. they can feel included, they can, you know, I mean, our kids do not have that much space to run around in the city, we all know that, especially in district two. So I think that whatever we can do to increase those opportunities is good, and whatever we do that kind of closes off those opportunities is bad. And so that's really where I stand with this resolution. I will keep bringing this resolution to rescind until we rescind, because we will rescind. It's a matter of time that we will rescind, and because it's the right thing for our students.
Any other comments?
Oh,
Oh, sorry, you walked away, 280.
yeah, walk over to the restroom.
Let's walk to the restroom, 280. Any other comments on 280?
Yeah, I have a lot to
Go
say
ahead.
about too. I heard a little bit about that in the same bathroom. I don't understand how we can even entertain the idea of not rescinding such a horrendous, harmful, hateful, unfounded, unfathomable resolution, if you want to call it a resolution. It was an attack on trans children. It was an attack on their dignity, on their personal safety, on their well-being. You want to talk about substance use? Try being a kid who gets bullied. Try being a kid who everybody others makes fun of. You're at a disproportionately higher rate of becoming addicted to a substance. So the conversations about, you know, we're doing this because we're gonna go down in the history books as protecting women and girls or protecting women's sports. I'm a woman, I don't want any part of that. I don't want my name attached to that. You are not doing anything for me. You are not helping me. You're harming kids. It's been proven that inclusion saves lives. It helps you identify with other students, connect with students, have fucking friends. Where do you make friends?
Please,
You make them in
sorry to
sports,
interrupt you.
when
Please,
play
please
sports.
don't curse me.
I'm sorry. I will
Joe,
not-
please
I
don't
will-
do that.
I'll take that back. I'll take that one back. But that's where you find support, you know, and a lot of trans students, a lot of other students don't have support at home. You know, so they go to school and that is their home. But our job as a council up here is not to decide who gets to be safe and who doesn't. We have guidelines and laws that do that, and we need to honor them, and we need to rescind the resolution.
Any other comments? So I'm gonna say something, and I haven't said anything about this in quite a while because I said it about a year, maybe around a year ago, and I didn't want to repeat myself every meeting, which I don't plan on doing going forward either. So first of all, I was not a sponsor of it. I voted for it, but I was not of the original underlying resolution. I was not a sponsor, but I voted for it. And there were a lot of people, a lot of parents who did come up to me and say, we do have questions about this. We want to have a conversation about this. This policy was made several years ago, and the world, people have evolved. Conversations have evolved since then. They're not saying we want to change the policy. They want to be able to talk about the policy, and that's actually all I've ever commented on. I've actually never said I want to change the policy. My point and my view has always been, if people want to have this discussion, having an open discussion is not necessarily a bad thing. We have discussions on a lot of policies that we don't like at the DOA. That happens all the time, and all of us have tried to change policies that we don't like at the DOA. And this was providing a venue. Now, other people may have had other motivations. I'm not going to go into what other people's motivations are. That's them, and I can only speak for myself. But that being said, after this resolution was passed back a year and a half ago, whatever it was, the chancellor immediately said, no, we're not doing it. And then we got in writing, because all of our resolutions, we get a response from the Department of Education that says, this is the response to your resolution. Usually it doesn't actually say a whole lot. It's on their website. You can take a look at all of them. Usually not a great response, but this one they said, we reject the resolution. We're not pursuing it. That's fine. That's the decision. And all of us that have voted for it, that have supported, parents that have voted, that have been in support of the original resolution, they are free, if they want, to continue advocating for it. I have not. I don't know. I don't think Council Member Bowen either. I don't want to speak to her. I don't think any of us have actually, or any of the returning members have advocated. It's done. The DOE is not changing the policy. I have no interest in pursuing that with this resolution with the DOA. To rescind to me says, we're not allowing parents to voice an opinion if we don't, if it's not a popular opinion. I'm not comfortable with that.
Unexcused absences.
So excuse me, sorry, we're in a business section right now. So in addition, the rescinding it, it's already been essentially vetoed by the DOA. That's fine. I have no interest in pursuing it. From a procedural standpoint, we're rescinding something that the DOE has said is not happening. It's sort of circular logic to me. So again, I'm not making a statement on what my beliefs are in terms of the policy right now. Actually, I don't think I ever actually have said that at one of these meetings. However, what I'm saying is it's a done deal. It's done. It's the decision was made by the Department of Education, and I have no interest in revisiting it at this point. We have other things on this council that we should be talking about: implementation of class size, how IEP delivery in many of our schools is horrific. There's a lot of things. The busing issue that we talked about. What we're going to do with Salk and Morton. New York City solves. Is that working, and how are we going to implement it? New York City reads, is that working, and how are we? That's what I want to discuss, and that's what I think we should be discussing going forward. But I have no interest in personally have no interest in revisiting the policy at this point or pursuing that. That's not where my advocacy is. And but I don't think rescind from a procedural standpoint is appropriate, and that's why I've actually been abstained. I've abstained every single time. It is not. I've never voted no to the rescission. I've abstained because I just don't think it's appropriate to rescind the resolution that has been already decided on by not one but two chancellors. Both chancellors have said this. So, of course.
So,
sorry. Let me just finish one thing.
Yeah.
I will say that I have expressed to other members of this council, and when I say this council, both this council and the previous council, my willingness or desire, I don't know how you would phrase it, to do a resolution that does talk about how the affirming trans kids and expressing need for protecting them. I will say that other people that I've reached out to have not taken me up on that. So I do want to make that comment that I am willing to work with other members of the council on this. Other members of the council have not, on both councils, the previous one and this one, have not taken me up on it. And it takes 7 people to pass a resolution. So I can't just put one forth. I'm not. Can I finish my sentence? Can I finish? Can I? No. Tam, can I finish? Can I finish? I'm not going to interrupt you. Joe, please, let me find my own balance. Let me just find my own balance. Okay. I don't want to put forth a resolution if I don't think something like this, which I think would be an important resolution, if I don't think I'm going to get 7 votes. So I do have to, unless I get people to work with me on it, who may not necessarily agree with me on other things, I don't want to put it through, but I have made that offer, and that offer still stands. Yeah, go ahead.
Why are you offering that instead of taking us up on the original offer?
Because I don't believe, I explained.
Procedurally, want to get around rescinding something that you gave us stamp, a go-ahead stamp. The sign of healthy functioning leadership is being able to take accountability, to take a step back when you did something that created harm, listen to your community that shows up day in, day out, and to reassess. Coming up with some like supplement, like here, like take this, like this will make you feel that I'm gonna throw you a bone and give you a new resolution. We don't want a new resolution, we want to rescind the horrible one and go on with our lives.
So that, I think, is where you're not getting taken up on the offer, right? Like that's not the offer on the.
So
We're not gonna compromise. That's what I'm
So I've explained why, well, I don't think this proceeding is appropriate. And when you say listen to your community, I'm listening to many people's community, not just the equity. And by the way, there are people who just because they don't come to this meeting, doesn't mean they don't express their opinions to me. We have had many meetings about this. We have had many meetings where people have been intimidated from speaking on both sides. I'm not saying on one side, on both sides. It cuts both ways. I acknowledge that. But I have a lot of families, a lot of parents who are afraid to come to this meeting because they have been intimidated And sometimes people are coming, don't want to come to me, not even to talk about the trade, the 248 issue. They want to talk about, I had someone, when we had the Shasat resolution, who sat in the audience, who wanted to speak about that and had wanted nothing to do with, did not want to talk about the 248 or even said. But they were intimidated when you talked about that, because while people were while they were in the audience, they were told, and I'm not going to repeat it because it's person, but they were told, they were had to see next to people that were basically intimidated from speaking about that issue. So there are a lot of people who are just not comfortable coming to these meetings and speaking freely. So I am listening to it. I listen to a lot of meetings. Thanks for being here.
No, I didn't know you were done. So
I
appreciate that your willingness to put forth the new resolution you talked about.
Yeah.
And I'm not opposed to that.
Right.
However, I also understand for people who were harmed by it, and I understand that like the position is that opening the conversation is harmful. But I think that unless you have been in that position, you don't know, right? And there have been trans students who have put forward testimony, there have been parents of trans students whose children have attempted to end their own lives. You know, in the first speaking session, when you threw out that I had a substance abuse problem, I clearly, I wrote a book about it, I do a lot of public speaking about it, I speak to parents, I speak to kids, because this was a problem I had as a child. I've been in recovery for 22 years, and I've already said that to me, I'm tough. But what I do care about is that I know from when I was in active addiction as a child, how much shame I felt about how other people looked at me. And I think about that with the trans kids who are listening to an administration talk about them like they're not human beings. And I think that these are elementary school and middle school children. We should be moving past this by saying they all have equal rights. And then moving on to educational issues, other safety issues. There are a lot of issues, we all know this, right? Every decision that I plan on making on this council is not putting my personal feelings forward. It is about evaluating what I think is in the best interest of children in our public schools. And I speak to the people who oppose this, human to human. Because I see you as a human, I fight for your rights, just like I fight for everybody else's. And I ask my council members who may be opposed to this to just, before the next meeting, you know, if you want to discuss it, we'll discuss it. But these are kids who have been harmed by adults talking about the fact that they may not have a right to participate in all school activities. There are council members who have said that they don't exist. And I think that, you know, like, as parent leaders, I want to set an example for my children that I respect every single person in this room, even if I really disagree with them, I will treat everybody here with respect. And I expect the same from all of you. And I think as parent leaders, that is the example moving forward in this new term that we should be focused on. I don't have to agree with you to work with you. You don't all have to agree, but we can express our opinions in respectful ways so that they don't harm other people. You can harm me all you can, it's not harm. I don't want other people to be harmed by opinions about other people and deciding whether or not they're a good person or worthy person or person at all. So I just wanted to add that because I think that that's the point of the upset around the idea of opening the conversation is focusing on one group and saying that they don't have the same rights. And, you know, again, anyone out there wants to email me about it or have a discussion about it, I'm always open to listen. But we do so in a respectful. Thank you.
You want to let me fine, but I'm gonna make one more comment. You know, I trust you that you say you want mutual respect from a cast member that I'm needed. But that means also respecting that other people will have other opinions, and not email. And or shoot, that's what has come. I have gotten, don't, it's not what was made. But I have gotten death threats. I have been threatened to be beaten up. I have had somebody threaten my child. So when you talk about mutual respect, it's not criticizing you, please don't take it. But I think we all need to have mutual respect, and we have to respect that other people may have opinions that are not the same as mine. I have many different opinions than Councilmember Gailey, and not about just about strategy, but about education. I still respect him. I still try to show him respect. Do it, but I try to show him respect. We all have different people, and we shouldn't demonize people for being persuasive.
But I think we need to reframe this. This is not a trans issue. These are trans students. This is not an issue. They are students. So we are here to protect our students, defend our students. And if we're not doing that, then we're not doing it.
Okay, any other comments? Okay. Okay, let's speak. Go ahead.
Yeah. Once again, I would like to mention once again that English is not my native language, but I hope we can answer the question. I hope it's the biggest problem for us in the conversation. I'm new to the council, and I wasn't part of the previous discussion, frankly speaking. But I want to speak clearly. I deeply support creating an educational environment that is inclusive and supportive for all students, for all of the students. And I can make mistakes when I speak, but I prefer that I do my best not to make mistakes in decisions. That's what I'm trying to do. That's how I live. That's how I work. What I see here, a lot of conversation. I was not a part of this conversation, and I would love to dig deeper in this problem. And we may not all agree. We may not on what was done in the past. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's okay, but we can't find the common ground. As far as I see, not too long here, that's my first meeting, not involved before. That's my actually first meeting. As far as I see from the background, from the work, that we can't find it somehow just right now. Maybe we can in the future, but maybe we should try to create something together to hear everybody. Because some colleagues mentioned that they hear other families. I can hear you guys here. Problem is, if, for example, I make my decisions emotionally, I have a decision just right now, of course, because I can hear all of you guys. But there's another side, and the main thing is we can't find the solution just right now. I mean, and you didn't find it in the past. So maybe it's better to hear all the voices of our community. And I definitely want to talk to everybody, for sure. And I want to dig deeper in this problem. It's a new problem. I want to dig deeper. And maybe we can move forward and create something meaningful that respects everybody and respects each community. I don't know if we can make it work, but definitely we can try. We already have a resolution, sorry. We have that we cannot agree on. We're talking about some future resolutions and so on, that they will not work, they're not gonna work, but we didn't see them. Maybe we should listen to each other and create something new. So as for me, I'm here, I'm listening, and I will dig deeper. That's what I'm trying to do. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you for realizing that it's a safety issue, it's a community issue, of having people access to safety while you're at school. That's a right of our students. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so I think there's a problem with the framing, just to be honest. I heard the trans issue, like, previously, trans students, trans kids are the kids, they're not an issue, they're not something that we solve. But then I also heard,
the trans, or the problem, I have a problem, there's a problem, I wanna dig deep into this problem. Trans students, I just don't wanna get it confused, you know, trans students are not a problem to be solved. I think the problem is within this council previously, and now coming into it, we have some baggage, right? We're coming into this with new members, but also with some history. And so I think learning to communicate respectfully on this council is very, very important. But I just don't want it to be framed as a problem, an issue with the children, right? They're children. And thank you for what you said, because I think that you said something really important within all of that. And also, just before I forget, I don't think when we decide which subcommittee we want to be on in this council, that anyone who is not willing to rescind 248 should not be on the school safety committee. I think it's a conflict of interest, and I wouldn't trust anybody that would vote against safety for trans students to be on the committee overseeing school safety.
Please, thank you so much for your comment. Thank you. If it's possible, you can listen to my speech once again. I never mentioned that it's for any communities is a problem. Never. So I see the problem that we can't make a decision here. So the problem is in making a decision. So that's the main point. And I think somehow we should talk to them.
Okay. So let's move on. And now we go to the second public speaker session. Do you have the slide? Oh, wait, oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Sorry, this is a long start. We're gonna go to the next resolution, and if you haven't signed up and you wish to do so, please. So now, resolution, sorry, I apologize. 281, resolution affirming the values of the District 2 Community Education Council, New York City Public Schools to ensure all students are welcome and safe.
Regardless of immigration status. Is there anybody who would discuss this? Go ahead, Aaron.
So, you know, again, going back to this issue, I'm the daughter of an immigrant. My father was born in Iran. I have Muslims, Christians, and Jews in my family. I grew up with something for everybody to hate. And I grew up in the 80s, like as a little kid in the 80s, when people were protesting in Washington that all Iranians should be deported. And I remember feeling so scared. Even my dad was a naturalized citizen at that point, but I remember feeling so scared that they were going to make my dad leave and send him back to a country where he would surely be executed. You don't have to. I don't care what your immigration stance is, but I think that the baseline of upholding our state, city, and DOE policies on not allowing ICE to enter New York City public schools without a judicial warrant is a very fair and rational decision to make. And you know, I think that it is striking. I have some experience in this area around advocating for children in the court system, and it is stunning to me to see how many small children are in detention. And recently, there has been a move to undocument people who were documented through special programs, and they were here legally in an immigration process, and that has been taken away. So people who were here in a legal capacity as asylum seekers are now in a different status. Again, this goes back to children. So for anybody who wants to vote no on this, I don't understand. Because it's the law, so how hard is it to say we're gonna uphold the law? And B, it shocks me that any parent leader would want to put any child in danger. These are innocent children. And that's all I have to say about it.
Thank you. Gavin?
Yeah, so I just wanted to supplement. So our resolution refers specifically to two current New York City public school high school students who are detained by ICE. Both of them were, in this lawful, asylum process. They went to a hearing that they were summoned to, and they were detained at the hearing. So we know again, like, these are students who are fulfilling their obligations. They are going in good faith to this hearing and they're being sued. And then since we put forward this resolution, there is actually another case, not a current high school student, but a recent graduate. He's 20 years old. He's a graduate of Pan American High School in Queens. Very similar case. He went to a hearing and he was put in handcuffs and taken away. So this is an ongoing problem. And I know that of course, the chancellor has spoken about this issue, but I think part of what this resolution does is it reaffirms these policies of New York City public schools to keep ICE out of the schools. And it reminds people that even though there have been articles in Talkbeat and the Daily News about these two students, they are still detained. One is in Texas, I believe, one is in Pennsylvania. So they are not with their families, they are not in their schools, they are not attending school. So until they come home, until they come back to their families, until they come back to their schools, we should keep reminding the chancellor, and we should keep reminding our city officials of the importance of bringing those students home, bringing them back to their schools. So that's what this resolution is about. So I hope everyone will support it.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Just really quickly, so I also had a loved one detained in an ICE detention center in Tacoma, Washington, which is a big one out there, and deported. Those spaces, those places are nowhere for a child to be, nowhere for a minor to be, nowhere for a human to be in a lot of cases, but small humans, like our students, that is not where you want them to exist at all. So please protect all kids, protect these students. Remember that they're kids. That should be first. They're not gangsters, they're kids.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I just want to say one more thing is that there are, New York City Public Schools does not ask people for their immigration status when they enroll them, but we know that there are many students in our schools in District 2 who are asylum seekers, who are similar to students like Dylan in the Bronx. And even if they themselves are not in that process, I guarantee you, pretty much every single school in District 2, there are students who have family members who are going through that process and really are facing that risk every day. They're facing that fear of being apprehended by ICE just for doing the things they should be doing, going to their job, going to church, going to school, going to a hearing. So I think we need to support all those students.
Okay. Thank you. So that concludes the discussion of the resolutions. We'll now go to the second public speaker session. You'll do my time. Thank you. Thank you. Doing a great job. Yeah, I got it. I'll take it. No, that's okay. I worked in a pharmacy for years. Okay. Okay, it was almost the same one. Okay, so we will have again 2 minutes per person. If you can go over there and speak, I will ask that everybody be respectful to each other and also not interrupt each other. And we can get through this because we do need to have the business session afterwards. We do need to have some discussion. So it would be great if we can get through this. The first person is Joe.
Okay, I spoke before. I am a former female athlete who has been sponsored. When we talk about the safety of the kids, we also have to think about the safety of the biological female students. And at one time, I dedicated one of my speeches to Anna Wilson, who is a 14-year-old student who asked that the adults do the right thing to protect her safety as a biological female. So when we talk about students, we shouldn't be ignoring the biological female students who do not want to compete or be in locker rooms with biological males. This is the usual buffoonery that I have to deal with. And the reason why a lot of people who agree with me don't come to these meetings is because they don't want to deal with this buffoonery. I said before, my sign says CIS Eagles can't imitate status. And when I mentioned before that somebody on this panel had a substance abuse problem, it was in no way meaning for it to be shameful. It's part of the bigger picture that 248 was supposed to research, and that's the pharmaceutical influence upon these kids. Why is there such an uptick of kids thinking they're quote unquote born in the wrong body? Pfizer, like I mentioned before, Pfizer Pharmaceuticals gives money to the Board of Ed. It's part of the larger conversation that 248 would have allowed people to have. And for those of you in the panel that don't know, the panel is essentially powerless. What happens is that whatever resolution gets passed goes to him, Superintendent McGuire, or it goes to the, Board of Ed, and then you're just gonna get the bureaucratic runaround, which is evident today, and he is just another part of the bureaucratic machine. No matter what issue you bring to him, he's gonna give the runaround. So I hope that you understand that going forward. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Next is Annabelle Ruggiero.
Amazing.
So, can you how does district cover elementary schools? Do you already know anything about like testosterone levels in pubescent and children? I know, the only reason why I know this is because I've seen it in research literature. Normal ranges in prepubescent cis boys is 1.8 to 5.68 nanograms per deciliter. And prepubescent cis girls is 2.69 to 10.29 nanograms per deciliter. So young cis girls have more of the quote unquote man chemical than cis boys. Sounds like advocating for trans sports bans for elementary students is really an act of cruelty. But I gotta say, we have this beautiful thing in the United States called the First Amendment. You don't need a resolution to open up a conversation. And I find it funny that the first thing we wanted to open up a conversation is not that the conversation is still going. Is it because the response is, wow, you deeply hurt us? This is actually kind of messed up. Why would you do this to us? Is it because you hurt us that you don't want this conversation to go on anymore? The best way to end this conversation is merely to rescind 248. I don't know why you would want to do that, because you're clearly okay if you're rescinding unexcused absences last term. Like you just pulled out what? Was it 4 unexcused absences? Or was it like 6, 8? Some going back as far back as 2 years. It seems like you're really willing to correct the record on things, but aren't willing to correct the record when it comes to your trans students. Do you have any humanity, or are you just that interested in seeing kids cry? I'm ready for an answer. I know you're gonna say you can't, but you guys have response to speakers saying things before, so I'm just gonna wait until my time's up. Okay.
Achilles. And then Shannon, where are you? You're next after Achilles. Just trying to move it along. Yeah. Go ahead. Thank you.
I just want to say that I have been a student of New York City Public Schools essentially since I started. And I am a proud granddaughter of 2 immigrants, one in the Dominican Republic, well, actually, Puerto Rico is U.S. territory, but one of my grandfather, he is an immigrant from the Dominican Republic, and my great grandmother is also an immigrant from the Dominican Republic. They're both the hardest working people I know. My grandmother lived as basically a slave in someone else's property, and so she was able to leave America. She worked her entire life as a black gay out and qualified for Medicare 65. She's done little enough to give some good church and support her community. My grandfather works at Safe Horizon, a organization that's a private organization that works in case that to protect victims of domestic violence children their entire life since essentially leaving school. And I think that New York City stands for the values of diversity and excellence. New York City has always been the standard for excellence in schools because of the strictest homeschooling regulations of the exception academia. We have, the Northeast is the standard of education for everywhere else. In fact, one of the standards of education in areas besides the Northeast, I'm bewildered at how so far the state is least. And COVID ravaged our schools less than 2 years ago. And with that virus came the virus of apathy. ICE is a lot like SARS-CoV-2 in the sense that it is a petulant plate, unwanted and forced upon us into our schools to harm our children and grow them in ways that they don't should. An excellent school district does not allow modern-day scaffolds to come in and harass their students. An excellent school district would not allow trans students to feel unsafe. An excellent school district upholds the values of equality, safety, humanity, and learning. An excellent school, it's not our job to defend the values the state has decided should already be in place. It is your job to prove why those values should not be in place and why they harm anyone. It is your job to prove why you should be allowed to go against the very rules set in place by the state. That's time. I just want to say one last thing to hold on.
It's not my time to.
You can yield, but please finish your set. It's fine to finish. You can't do the yielding, but it's fine for her to finish.
I sort of lied about something important. I was not actually suffering from any serious illness. I lied about that because I was thinking about dying another way and I'm very well for that. And I never told about it, so there's we're glad you're here.
And then Adele is next. Adele, and then Jenny, Erica would be after that.
Hi, folks. Y'all know me, I'm Shannon. I've been doing this forever. I don't have anything prepared, so I'm gonna riff. Recently, I had the good fortune to start a new job, which we can apply for. They're not like cool jobs, the new jobs is great. I'm actually working with LGBT seniors now. I can't name the organization because I don't have to speak on behalf of them, but it's a cool organization. One of the things I am not seeing as I talk to the elders I work with is fear. We, the community, but especially the elders, they're watching what's going on. And there's a reason they're not afraid. It's because this has been tried and failed so many times. And yeah, resolution like 248, it's gonna kill some of us. The ones that survive because they are hardened. Because as kids, they were told, if we see you as trans, we're gonna beat the shit out of you. When I go on the subway, I gotta worry about somebody attacking me. Now, I pass pretty well. I'm fortunate in that regard. But I fear for my life. I've had death threats. I've had people attack me for something I can't control rather than my opinions, I could sit at home and still be under threat. Trans people are steel. Queer people are steel. These resolutions, these Trump policies, they're not gonna get rid of us. They're gonna hurt. They're gonna kill some of us. But we've been here since forever and we will continue to be here. The question is whether or not we want to see kids have to be that hard to survive.
Yes.
Yes. Something to think about. I yield my time.
Thank you, Shannon. Congratulations on your new position. Adele, and then Jenny, Erica. I think that's, if I'm reading that correctly. No, Adele, and then Jenny, Erica. It looks like Jenny, Erica. I don't know. Okay. I'm reading the list.
Okay, so Greg, I heard you talking about people not feeling safe to be in this room, and I actually agree with you. There are many people who don't feel safe to be in this room, and there's a lot of repair work that needs to be done before you can just have a clean slate for the harm that you cause. And Maud, I'm sorry, but she was the ELL rep. So when we're talking about migrant communities and as if their humanity is up for debate somehow, when it's a clear-cut issue on what is right and what is wrong, and even framing it as a legitimate debate makes me physically ill as somebody who isn't even directly affected by myself, but works with the communities that are affected. And so your trust needs to be earned back, and that's gonna take a lot of work because you have caused harm. And we're stopped, right?
Rustam.
With an M, I think there's a typo there.
Oh, sorry.
So I can see
that, that it seems like you might have, I don't know, be friends with Craig and Allison. I would just think, well, or not friends, but, you know, voting for them, whatever. I don't know what you're, obviously, I don't know any of the ins and outs there, but I would just encourage you to not align with people who have literally spewed and supported like Nazi logic. That is something that I would discourage you from doing if you want to be on the right side of history on this board. I would also, like Craig and Allison are part of the team that set the tone that allows this, I'll finish in a second, that allows this to happen in a building where we're here for children. So just, I would really think through what you're gonna do going forward, and I mean that. Thank you.
Thank you. Jenny?
Okay, hi, I'm Jenny. I have two kids, one in elementary school, this right here, and one in middle school at 75 Morton. A couple things that I just think are a little ironic is the sign that I see right here is a gender neutral bathroom. And I can't believe that we're talking about not rescinding 248. It's absolutely absurd. My son is in karate. I'm 6 feet tall. My husband is 6'8". He's in karate, big girls, and the girls are fatter than him. So this is I'm sorry, but he's wonderful and healthy, but he doesn't wonder if he is going to be competing because there's no reason that you can't have co-ed sports at this age. It's absolutely absurd. Craig, you have the ability to rescind something that you made a mistake on. The last council made a major mistake, and this council can turn that around and it can support all trans kids. It can support all kids. It can make it a more inclusive place. New York City Department of Education does not agree with 248. What are you doing even having this discussion? Pull it back, get rid of it, start over, and do something real for the kids. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be working for the students. That's what you do. So my son is a seventh grader, a rising seventh grader at 75 Morton. 75 Morton is an absolutely incredible place. Everyone always talks about like, wow, the building is amazing. I just want to say, screw that. Sure, the building is amazing, but you know what is amazing is the community is absolutely incredible. If you look at the demographic information of the SALT kids, and you look at the demographic information of 75 Morton, it is totally different. This immigrant bill, the resolution that we're trying to pass, will directly affect the kids at 75 Morton. 75 Morton, you walk in and it looks like the beauty of New York City. I'm sorry, excuse me, one more second, Erin, and I'm 41 too. If we don't take into account the special population that is 75 Morton County, when you do this merger, you really are going to mess up an absolutely beautiful, inclusive community. So I just beg you that as you're thinking through this, make sure it stays zoned. Make sure that you are supporting the immigrants. Make sure you are supporting our diverse community, and don't let louder voices overtake things. Thank you.
Robin Lamb, and then Chrissy Rose will be after that.
Hey, I'm Robin Lamb, and I'm a member of the SLT of Morton. I wrote out what I was going to say. As Jenny said, who's also in the SLT with me, our school is a wonderful representation of the diversity of our district and diversity. And that is truly a rarity in our students. Even in our public elementary schools, or our libraries, or our restaurants, or even our subway, Morton is more representative of New York than any place I've been in New York. So here are some statistics. A third of our students are English language learners. Over 50% of our students are Black and Latino. Roughly 20% of our students are in an accelerated class. Is that for me? Yes. And as a father of Latino students in the 6th and 8th grade, in the screen class in the 6th and 8th grade, I can attest to the rich ratio of ethnic diversity in those classes. Over half of our students receive high school offers from specialized high schools like Stuyvesant, Bronx Science, and Brooklyn Tech. or screened high schools like Elbro and Lab and Millennium, Nest, and others. High schools that require an audition like LaGuardia or the Joffrey School of Ballet or the Art and Design High School or the Professional Performing Arts High School and others. Or from consortium schools like Beacon and the Institute for Collaborative Education. So we go to all of a great diversity of high schools across the city. Statistically speaking, our school has no more incidents of serious disciplinary action than Saul. It is no more violent or dangerous than any other school in the district. That's what the statistics say. And parents who assume it is dangerous should ask themselves why they believe that true. We are also a zone school, and our large and diverse zone is the foundation for our culture. It's inextricable from our values and our identity. If we merge with Salt, we will welcome them into our school building, welcome them to our school community, because that's what our school values, inclusivity of all New York children. If Salk and Morton merge, it would be in all students' best interest for the school to retain the Morton zone.
Thank you. Chrissy Rose and then Nancy Mercado.
So Craig, in your remarks, you said that you don't want to revisit this because this 248 is settled and to revisit it is procedurally inappropriate somehow. So it's pretty inhumane to say that procedure is more important than content, that like procedure is more important than addressing harm. But even aside from that, if we don't want to revisit anything that's settled, why did you vote for 248 in the first place? Because the guidelines were already there. The guidelines apply to all of New York City public schools and they were settled. But you said you wanted to open a conversation, right? Now we have had a conversation. We've had months of conversation. You've heard people come up here and give you every kind of information, like the science about trans kids in sports, how it's impacting trans kids, how it's not impacting cis kids, or it's negatively impacting cis kids because they can't play with their friends. Like the conversation has been had. The conversation is not harmless. If the content of the conversation is debating and improves humanity, and specifically debating humanity and children based on their gender identity. But like harm is conduct. So it's great that you want to pass a different resolution about, I'm not sure what that is about, so I'm not going to speak to it. This is the one that needs to be rescinded. It's like the other council member said, when harm has been done, it's so important to just like admit it, like Stephen is safe. And that can be so okay, and better than okay. And the last thing I want to say is to new council member Russ, welcome. I really appreciate that you are like seeing the deadlock here and being like, we gotta like move through this somehow. If you're really committed to making the right decisions, then what you need to understand here is we're not deadlocked because like both sides have got like an equal say in what's going on here. What's happening here is that a political ideology is being pushed. So if you want to find the right decision, then I really encourage you to look at the population we're talking about, which is kids. You know, like how kids are impacted by being left out of sports, whether there is difference in gender, I will wrap up right now, whether there is difference in like gender performance in kids up to 8th grade, and if that's like actually an impactful thing. And then also talk to trans kids who are impacted in this school district. Because that's the population of students that's not being heard. And they're your students. Thank you.
Jules will be next speaker.
Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me back there? It's very hard to hear back there. I need to say that. My name is Nancy Mercado. I'm a children's book editor. I'm a mom of 2 public school kids in Brooklyn, and I've committed myself to coming to every CECD2 meeting that I can since last year. And wow, these meetings are embarrassing to witness. But it's a new board and a clean slate, and ultimately, despite all evidence to the contrary, I'm an optimist at heart. So I'm going to express my wishes for the new board. May you have forum to get actual real
and make your time here mean something. May you take pride in your work. May you attend every meeting. May you listen with full attention to the numerous speakers that are giving up their free time with their friends and families to appeal to your varied sense of humanity. May you redeem the sins of the past CEC board members. May you do the bare minimum to protect trans kids and immigrant families. May you follow the DOE guidelines as expressed by the superintendent at each meeting. May you follow the will of the parents and the people. And may your work be informed by principles of community care and abolition. May you not add to the terror that is happening every day at 26 Federal Plaza. May you do the kind of work that will allow you to sleep at night, and may you once and for all pass resolutions 281 and rescind 48. It's not that hard.
Is that microphone? I got a Montreal famous first, I'll be honest. It's cool. Oh yeah, come on, it's the Nest Support Project. We dropped the ASD. I worked with them for almost a decade. Because we wrote strong word letters to TSF and to Central that it's just Nest Support Project, not ASD. Nest Support Project is not spectrum disorder. Is inaccurate. So it's a difference. That's not even why I'm here. I am a cis woman for me that means cisgender, but I'm also a very girly, so maybe that's why. I have an advanced certificate in gayness, which is like under a mental health thing at NYU. I've been like an educator for 20 years, and I just want to reaffirm what other people said. And I guess for those of you who are new, welcome. People have talked about like I want to, find out learn from other people, and I just want to reaffirm the idea like whose opinion matters and this doesn't. I shouldn't be up here as this woman. Yes, I'm an educator, but it's not like my issue. I've played sports, I guess, actually all the way through like high school. Maybe I can kind of speak to this. But yeah, the perspectives of the people who are really impacted, children and adults, again, it's not just researchers, not just educators, is what matters. And yeah, people keep saying watching, and I just feel like I don't think that word means what you think it means, like it's breaking my brain. I also want to just name that when people say respect to me, that's giving a very cis neurotypical white, like, waspy, whatever, clutching vibe. And to use like I forgot it sounds like y'all. Someone's comfort sounds more important than someone's safety. And so I'm happy to respect people in whatever way, shape, or form I can, but how respect is defined is so like and I feel like it speaks to a wider issue of like what is actually important. Yes, the content should be important. Trans kids are important, immigrant kids are important. These are not harmless conversations. I actually want to echo that I'm so happy to talk about this day and night. I would love to continue to talk about but I don't even know what the questions are. We're not allowed to be back and forth with each other, so I don't even know how to have that conversation. The one conversation I want to have on random Monday where it was all like anti-trans people and someone talked about not being, that's not based on research. And yeah, and kids don't have a problem with it. Inclusion starts with kids, right? When we got each other, the Nest Support Project. Hey, those kids are like, great, Larry, that kid's autistic, I'm not autistic, cool. Then they grow up and they're fine with it. So again, the importance of inclusion is like your kids aren't super like worried about it. Oh, and lastly, I'm also immigrant, which is also not my first language. And I sound like this and look like this, so I wouldn't necessarily come for me, but like that's a ridiculous privilege, and our children shouldn't. I didn't choose to come to this country, just like kids don't choose to be trans. And again, they shall still be celebrated. I only belong to beverages. It's too fucking hot out. Sorry, I said it swear, but I didn't.
Okay. Thank you. Next, second public speaker session, and now what? I don't know. Okay, who's the second public speaker session? Now we'll have the vote on the resolutions. In the absence of the secretary, the recording secretary, I will take the roll on this. So we'll start off with resolution 280. Resolution to affirm CEC2 support of NYCPS's guidelines to support transgender and gender expansive students and rescind resolution 248. Do I have a motion to approve that resolution?
Yes.
Motion by Councilmember Carr. Second? Okay. Councilmember Healy. Okay. Allison Bowen.
Howard.
Gloria Chu.
Yay.
Gloria Chu, yes. Allison Bowen was abstained. Gloria, she was yes. Danielle Egorov is out. Erin Carr?
Yes.
Erin Carr is a yes. Cody Lindquist is out. Rustam Mavlanov.
Abstain.
Rustam is abstained. Gavin Healy?
Yes.
Gavin Healy is yes. Tam Reed?
Yes.
Tam Reed is yes. Craig Slutskin is abstained. Sabina Serenise is out. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses and 3 abstentions. Motion does not pass. Now we'll go to resolution 281, resolution affirming the values of the District 2 Community Education Council and the New York City Public Schools to ensure all students are welcome and safe regardless of immigration status. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
Yes.
Motion from Councilmember Carr. Do I have a second? Second from Councilmember Chu. Okay, Allison Bowen.
Abstain.
Why?
Councilmember Bowen is abstained. Councilmember Chu.
Yes.
Councilmember Chu is a yes. Councilmember Egorov is out. Councilmember Carr.
Yes.
Councilmember Carr is a yes. Councilmember Lindquist is out. Rustam Mavlanov.
Yes.
Rustam Mavlanov is a yes. Gavin Healy. Gavin Healy is a yes. Tam Reed.
Yes.
Tam Reed is a yes. I'm a yes. Sabina is out. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yes. 1 abstain. Motion does not pass. If she wants to do it, she can do it on her own. So.
You said you wanted to.
So,
Abstentions are just a coward's no.
okay, so it's a 6 yes, 1 abstention, so the motion does not pass. As a reminder, just so
Thank you, Allison.
for the folks who are new, just to show you how it works, it's not a majority of who's here. It's a majority of the full council. The full council is 12. Even though we don't have 12 people here tonight, or even 12 on the council, under New York State education law, it's a majority of the total council. So since we have 12, it has to be 7 yeses. If we had 7 people here, if we had 7 people on the council, you still would need all 7. It doesn't make a difference. You have to have 7 yeses. So the motion does not pass. She doesn't have to, that's not. Okay, so we're gonna move along to approval of minutes. Draft minutes of the June 18th, 2025 CEC2 minutes. These are the minutes from the previous council, and I did check with Face and legal as to what our obligations are because it was a previous council. We can approve this. We have the right to do so. We have the right to vote on it, I should say, not approve. We have the right to vote on it. We also have the right to just let it go and it will just be recorded. And it will be recorded in our on our database as minutes that were just unapproved because it was a new council. So before we go for a vote or any motions, what do people generally want to do? I'll just want to get a consensus as to what people want.
What time do you think your apartment is?
10.
It might be a different, that's what they.
Oh, okay.
They said 9:50.
Oh, okay.
But.
Okay. We weren't told that, but okay.
But, yeah.
So,
if you go down, would you send them up?
Will I send them up?
Yeah, so we have security up here.
They're.
okay, what do people want to do about the minutes?
I mean, I'm fine for the room stuff.
Okay, so.
I looked at them.
So there are minutes from the from the June 18th meeting. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Yes.
So, and do I have a motion to second? Okay, thanks, Tim. Okay. Allison Bowen? The minutes, yes. Allison Bowen was a yes. Gloria Chu?
Yes.
Gloria Chu was a yes. Danielle Egorov is out. Erin Carr?
Yes.
Erin Carr is a yes. Cody Lindquist is out. Russ Mavlanov, yes. Gavin Healy? Gavin Healy is a yes. Tam Reed? Tam Reed is a yes. I'm a yes. So the minutes stand approved. Thank you. Is there any new business? Any new council business? Okay, then I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Does everybody approve?
Yes.
Approve. Okay, thank you. So the calendar meeting is concluded. We do have a working business meeting. So if you want to stay, you're welcome to stay. The public does not get an opportunity to speak at this meeting. If you are leaving, I do ask for you to leave so we can work on this so it's not a lot noisy so we can actually have our meeting. Thank you. Anthony. Can you help people just shepherd them so we can, otherwise it'll get very noisy. Thank you. In a peaceful way. I just want to make sure.
Allison Bowen has failed our immigrant students.
So I'm gonna call this business meeting to order. I'm gonna take a roll call in the absence of a secretary. Allison Bowen. Allison Bowen is here. Gloria Chu. Gloria Chu is here. Danielle Egorov is excused as discussed before. Erin Carr. Erin Carr is here. Cody Lindquist is excused as per discussion earlier. Rustam Mavlanov, sorry. Rustam is here. Gavin Healy. Gavin Healy is here. Tam Reed. Tam Reed is here. And Craig Slutskin is here. Sabina Terranese is excused as per discussion before. Okay. So, hold on one second. On the meeting dates, so at the annual, at our first meeting, we're supposed to set the meeting dates for the rest of the year, like for Thursday, second Wednesday. My suggestion is to wait. We only have 7 people here. We don't know who the borough president appointees are yet. I suspect they will be appointed soon, but you know, I don't know. And I'd like to give them the opportunity. So is everybody okay with not doing that? I don't think we need to take a vote by consensus. Okay. So that's that. But we should set the next meeting date. And we did set out a doodle poll. There was no great date, just to let everybody know. There was no, I don't know if you folks saw that. There were only 2 days that we would have 7 people. Tuesday, August 12th, and Wednesday. By the way, thank you all for responding so quickly. Everybody responded, the superintendent responded. The only 2 days that we would have 7 would be Tuesday the 12th and Wednesday the 13th. And I know that was for you, Gloria, that was like if you really kind of had to. I know it wasn't ideal for you. Every other day was between 2 and 5. So we wouldn't have quorum except for those 2 days. I know those are 2 days that you couldn't do. Sorry, I mean, you only put 1. You're right, I know, right. And the only one you could do only got 5, so we wouldn't have been able to have a meeting. So unfortunately, I think we have to do either the 12th or the 13th. You're looking at me, you're judging me, you're judging me.
No, not at all. I'm just
Sorry,
tired.
Gloria.
I would suggest the 13th, because we always do these on Wednesday, so for the public,
That's fine with me.
That's fine.
I guess my question is, Gloria, you put down like, you could do it if you had to, but you weren't enthusiastic, like sort of like you're not enthusiastic. Is there a better day of the 2 of them for you? Okay, so I guess. I mean, we can. Well, why don't we tentatively schedule for the 13th, and we'll see what they say when they get appointed. Because if they both say, let's say August 20th, which we have 4, that doesn't get us to a quorum anyway.
I think we should set it now for the public, right?
I'm thinking about myself.
Yeah, no. Oh, I just said the 20th because I had to look down. There was a 4 there. I didn't even know that was your day.
I just think that for that close.
Yeah. I'm fine with waiting. I think as a 10.
Right, I would actually suggest we send out a public who wants to come and speak at these meetings to know when they are.
So, and I mean, the problem I see is I don't know when the borough appointees are gonna be made. So like, that's why I say let's do it tentatively. And if we need to switch it, then we need to switch it. Well, if it's in the next week, yeah, we'll switch it. If it's 3 days before the next meeting, it's kind of a harder thing to do, right?
Wednesday meeting needs to be public.
72 hours before, but I mean, I wouldn't do that to the public. I mean, that's kind of like a crappy thing to do.
We're looking at months ahead, 3 weeks ahead.
So, I mean, we cannot set a date tonight if you folks don't want to set a date.
I think we run the risk of losing, people who can make a certain date and then not having to show up for any meeting in August if we don't choose a date now, lock it in, so we know we have a meeting before us and we get it announced to the public.
I'm sure about that, just because this meeting was originally, we went with the whole
We don't
goal
actually-
of having it all declared by the state of every month.
It has to be, that's because the bylaw, right?
Right, but in terms of the public knowing about it, they
Okay.
expect it, so there's flexibility.
I'm fine with setting it tentatively and like giving us a week to see if we.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's fine.
So why don't we tentatively, we won't post it.
So
Tentatively the 13th, but we won't post it and we'll revisit it in a week. Is
I
that
think we may
fair?
have the.
Because people may have, you know something?
I heard something.
Okay, so we'll within a week, we'll figure it out, but we'll tentatively say the 13th, we won't post. Fair?
Are we taking that then, it'll be the 20th?
I mean, the 20th only has 4 people that said they could do it. So if the 2 people, even if both appointees say yes, we wouldn't be able to have a meeting because it'd be only 6.
But is there some reason why the last week of August was an off week? You know?
We traditionally don't do it because most people go, a lot of people aren't around. I mean, I could add that if you want. What's the week before school? I mean, I could add it.
I'm available.
Okay. I can add that also if you want. Okay. You know, I tried it, but I had 10 days. I had most days.
That's the wrong name, you're right, just.
Oh,
Right?
no.
No, it's okay.
Really, no, it's like,
Okay. Okay, I'm not around the last week, but that's fine. Yeah. Okay, the next one is the treasurer's report. Sorry, that's fine. We don't have a treasurer yet. There's no rush in doing the budget. Any new business? Okay, then, meeting.
When do we decide liaisons?
I mean, we could do that now. I don't know if you want to wait. What we did last time, so the way we did it last time is that we had all the schools, everybody put down 4, I think 5 choices. And then I worked through it and I think it wound up the way Len and I did it, and it's approved by everybody, by the way. I'll send it out. Yeah, I also don't want to do it before the borough president appointees, and the way.
Officers too, first. We haven't elected any new officers, so I think we should.
That's fine, although I guess what happens if we don't do it in August? We only have 7 in a meeting. Do we really want to wait till September and then approve in October? We can do that, but. So you want to just wait completely? That was what. Right, so the way we did it, and the way we worked it out is everybody got at least 2, some people got 4 of their choice, it just worked out well, it may not this time, and then it was approved, it wasn't like Len, who was the president, made the decision. He did. We might have said, is everybody okay with it, but I think it wasn't Len being a dictator about it, so, okay. Okay, and that being said, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.